Chapter 1301. Lin Ge left the bath center and rushed back to the hotel. Now the situation was basically clear. Qinwan also knew that there was such a place in the car rental company named World Travels. After checking the car rental company's registration, Qinwan quickly got the phone number of the owner of World Travels. It was hard to imagine that such a big car rental company was opened by a young man. The registration information on the ID card said that he was born in 1995. At most, he was only 19 years old. Receiving a call in the middle of the night, the little boss was obviously impatient. "Who is it? Are you crazy? Why are you not sleeping in the middle of the night? Is it fun to make a call? I'm from the Shenzhen City Public Security Bureau. Now I have something to ask you. I hope you can cooperate with our work." Qinwan didn't show any unpleasant expression because of the other party's impatience. "What the F***ck, big sister, isn't your trickery a little too lacking? Which police officer is still working in the middle of the night? You've watched too many Hong Kong police and gangster movies. How can there be such a responsible civil servant?" The car rental company's little boss didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Apologize and hang up the phone before I'm in a good mood, and curse your family to death. No one is joking with you. I'm not a swindler, and I won't cheat you. I just want to know some information about your car rental company." Qinwan still explained patiently. She could understand. There were so many swindlers these days. Those phone scammers really deserved to die. They deserved to be cursed. They liked to cheat some old people with slow reactions. They used people's fear as a tool to make money. Their hearts were too black. Such people didn't deserve to be human. "Hey, you guys did a pretty thorough investigation. You know that I'm in the car rental business? Do you know who I am?" The little boss heard this and became spirited. Qinwan smiled bitterly. "Of course we know. Your identity can be found by our public security system. Che Xiaoshen." This name at a glance must have been changed later on. Otherwise, which parent would name their child Little God? If it was really to sound good, it should be called De Shun. What was Xiaoshen? "You know who I am, and you dare to cheat me." Che Xiaoshen stared. "Since you have investigated so clearly, then come to my house to find me. F***ck. Scram, you liar." After that, Che Xiaoshen hung up and turned off his phone. No matter how hard Qinwan tried, she couldn't get through. "This guy is really..." Qinwan looked at Suyin helplessly. They couldn't wait any longer. They had to hurry. If Che Xiaoshen said that they could go to his house to find him, then they had to go to his house. When Che Xiaoshen was woken up by the knocking on the door again, he really broke down. Could it really be those liars? "Damn. What kind of game are you playing with me? Although I'm young, I have my own methods to be able to stand firm in Shenzhen." In a fit of anger, Che Xiaoshen pulled out the fake Type 54 pistol he had bought for more than 10,000 yuan from the bedside table. He opened the door in a fit of rage and pointed the gun at them. He shouted, "Are you guys tired of living?" As soon as she opened the door, someone pointed a gun at her. Qinwan was a little scared. This guy, he actually hid a gun. I should really teach him a lesson. Suyin didn't react at all, and continued to walk into the house. F***ck. You think I don't dare to shoot? Che Xiaoshen glared and scolded. For a liar, only an idiot would become a murderer. Suyin suddenly reached out and took the pistol from Che Xiaoshen's hand. A second ago, the pistol was aimed at someone else. Suddenly it was aimed at his head. Che Xiaoshen instantly went limp. Suyin wouldn't really threaten him with the gun. He quickly dismantled it, and the fake Type 54 pistol was scattered all over the table. Suyin said disdainfully, "It's a fake. It's best not to play with it. It's easy to misfire. How much did you spend on it? 3,000 yuan?" Che Xiaoshen swallowed a mouthful of saliva. F***ck, he's a gun god. He bought it for more than 10,000 yuan and found out that it was a fake. It wasn't a high-quality fake. It was just a small workshop in Hunan, and was worth at most 3,000 yuan. "This brother, you are awesome." Che Xiaoshen gave him a thumbs up. Qinwan took out her ID and placed it in front of Che Xiaoshen. "Look carefully. We are not liars. This is my ID. If you don't believe me, you can call the police and ask." After seeing Qinwan and her ID, Che Xiaoshan was dumbfounded. Sister, you are the legendary goddess Qin, Bureau Chief Qin. Oh my. If I knew it was goddess sister, I wouldn't have dared to hang up on you even if you gave me 100 guts. Your presence brings light to my humble dwelling today. At such a young age, 19 years old, he already had such a big stall and such a big car rental company. Other than his father who had the money to invest, Che Xiaoshan definitely relied on his glib tongue to survive in society. He would say nice words to whoever he met. It was 100% certain that he wouldn't hurt anyone. All right, enough with the pleasantries. You didn't cooperate when we called, and made us come all the way to find you. Make some tea and apologize. Lin yawned and said, You think we're not sleepy? F***ck. Che Xiaoshan quickly went to the fridge, and took out all kinds of cows and Lao Ji. Brothers and sisters, wake up. If there's anything you need me to do, I'll definitely cooperate. Do you have a blue Buick business and a gold Buick business that were rented by foreigners? The ending numbers are 6 and 7, respectively? Qin Wan'er asked. Che Xiaoshan was stunned and thought for a few minutes. Goddess Sister Bureau Chief, this matter. Don't call me that. Qin Wan'er rolled her eyes. She didn't like to hear such words. Oh, Goddess Sister Bureau Chief, this matter is indeed true. Che Xiaoshan immediately changed the way he addressed her. But the foreigner said that he didn't let me tell anyone about the car rental, and paid me double the price. So, this matter is only for Goddess Sister Bureau Chief to ask. If others ask, I definitely can't tell. Don't flatter me. Lin Gu drank his drink and said, This matter is very serious. If you don't want to be taken away by Goddess Sister Bureau Chief for a few days, then explain yourself. Hearing Lin Gu call her that, Qin Wan'er turned around and stared at him. Explain, definitely explain. Che Xiaoshan said. Even Goddess Sister Bureau Chief is here. This matter must be very serious. Those people are definitely not good people. But that's all I can say. I gave them the car, and I didn't give them any valid documents. I just gave them $90,000 in cash. If they really damaged the car and drove it away, I won't compensate them. That's what I thought from the beginning. I came here to confirm this matter with you. I didn't expect you to be of much help. Su Yin said. If you had explained it on the phone earlier, there wouldn't be such trouble. Write down the license plate number. As he spoke, Su Yin took out a book and a piece of paper and handed it to Che Xiaoshan. Then he knocked on the pile of scattered gun parts on the table. This gun was indeed troublesome. Che Xiaoshan swallowed his saliva and wrote down the license plate numbers of the two cars. Today he would not have died if he hadn't asked for it. Pointing a gun at a policeman's head, this matter must be very serious. After dawn, take your gun and turn yourself in. If I arrange for someone to arrest you, then you will be in big trouble. Qin Wan'er also looked at the scattered gun parts. Violating the gun control regulations, illegally possessing or hiding guns and ammunition, will be sentenced to not more than 3 years of imprisonment, criminal detention or control. If the case is serious, the sentence will be more than 3 years and less than 7 years of imprisonment. Goddess Sister Bureau Chief, we with our relationship, can you make an exception? Che Xiaoshan said with a crying face. Chapter 1302. Once they knew the license plate number, it was much easier to check through the surveillance on the traffic road. Soon, through the surveillance on the road, they found the traces of the 2 Buick business cars. The 2 cars didn't go together. One went on the Shenzhen Expressway, and the other went on the North Expressway. Although the 2 cars didn't go on the same road, the final destination was the same place. This was enough to prove the problem with the 2 cars. Obviously, the other party was afraid of making them too big of a target, so they deliberately separated the 2 cars. However, the more they did this, the more it proved that they had a guilty conscience. The 2 cars ended up in a villa in the suburbs. This was definitely a good place to kill people in the dark of night. The surrounding area could be described as completely deserted. Then there was the problem. The 12 heavenly stars chose such a secluded place. Not to mention that there was no traffic late at night. There probably would not be anyone there during the day. They only needed to set up a lookout device on the top of the villa's attic. Even if it was an ordinary telescope produced by a small workshop in Hunan, it would be able to see everything within a radius of 3 to 5 kilometers. Although it was not so exaggerated that even a fly would not be able to escape their eyes, it was certain that with such a large group of people going in, they would definitely be noticed. Of course, it was impossible to act alone. There were 13 people in the CIA's 12 heavenly stars. Excluding Ellie, who might not have the will to fight against them, there were 12 people left. Just relying on Su Yun and Lin Ge to sneak in was definitely impossible. Even if they could successfully sneak into the villa where the other party was hiding, once they were noticed, the 12 people would join forces to besiege the two of them. Their chances of victory would be very slim. The other party was not an unorganized and undisciplined underground world's ordinary masters. They were all well-trained people in the CIA. If they worked together perfectly, their combat power would soar. Su Yun was very clear about this point. Just like his brothers in Dragon's Fury, their tacit understanding could not only increase their strength, but double it. For example, the combat power of 4 people was definitely not 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4 people's combat power, but 4 times 4 equals 16 people's combat power. Therefore, Su Yun believed that the CIA's people were definitely not easy to deal with. Although their tacit understanding could not reach the power of the special forces through years of life and death together, it was definitely not to be underestimated. Overestimating one's strength would only lead to a bitter battle. If the other party took the initiative, it would be troublesome. For a moment, Su Yunjin was somewhat at a loss of what to do. Although they found the other party's stronghold, there was no way to make a move. After all, Guoguo was still in their hands. Even if the other party only had this little bit, they would still be able to make them return empty-handed. With a hostage in hand, what could Su Yun use to exchange with the other party? Was he really counting on Ellie? Impossible. Su Yun was very clear that Wei Yishan's death must have something to do with the other party's suspicion. Since they were able to kill Wei Yishan, then Ellie's current situation wouldn't be any better. He had no way to count on the mixed-race girl to do anything more. Thinking of this, Su Yun felt a headache. This matter was really getting more and more troublesome. Su Yun, the only thing I can help you is to mobilize the police as much as possible. If you need these, you must tell me. Qinwan was no longer an impulsive person. Although she now had power, she would not act recklessly. If Su Yun did not need it, she would not mobilize the police. Su Yun did not like to cooperate with the police. He also did not trust the police's ability. Su Yun shook his head. Even if the police appear, it will be useless. If a few police cars are dispatched, they will quickly move when they are 10 kilometers away from the villa. They are not simple people. They are all well-trained special agents. Our ordinary police are definitely not their opponents. And I understand. Qinwan nodded. She did not need Su Yun to say anything more. She knew that she could not help with this matter. But she also had her bottom line. She did not care if the other party was some bullshit heavenly star. If they hurt the important people around her, she would not let them leave Huaxia easily even if she had to pay a high price. Brother Yin. Someone is looking for you. Dan Jiahao from the security department knocked on the door and rushed in. Hurry up and go down. Seeing his anxious expression, Su Yun was a little surprised. Who would look for him in the middle of the night? Could it be that the people from the 12 heavenly stars were preparing to negotiate with them? Let's go. Su Yun got up and followed Dan Jiahao out of the room. Lin Ge and the others quickly followed. Everyone present, regardless of whether they were injured or not, all followed Su Yun. If it was really the other party's people who had come, they would not care about bullshit like, 2 countries are at war and do not kill envoys. They would definitely not let them off easily. Su Yun led everyone downstairs in a hurry, only to find that the people who had come were not from the 12 heavenly stars. The ones standing at the front were Ma San'er and Matthew. The appearance of these 2 people together had already surprised Su Yun. Su Yun did not expect the rest. Hua Leitang, Qianfeng, Han Zhan, Gong Sunleng, Hua Xiaolu, Chu Shi, Bai Songguang, Fan Shuang. The people from the Dragon Fury team were also here. What the hell was going on? This really needed a good explanation. After Ma Sanner returned to Yanjing, Matthew, who had sorted out his emotions, went to Pan Garden. He had always wanted to contact Su Yin to apologize, but he did not know how to say it directly. Therefore he thought of Ma Sanner and wanted to come here to meet with Ma Sanner first. The moment they met, he heard Ma Sanner talk about their encounter in Jianghuai. When he talked about the 12 heavenly stars, Matthew immediately realized the seriousness of the matter. The American government's CIA had actually arranged for the 12 heavenly stars to come out. They would definitely not give up until they achieved their goal. Matthew knew better than anyone what the 12 heavenly stars' goal was. It was definitely him. Therefore, he could not avoid this problem no matter what. At that time, he had decided to go to Xinjiang and face this challenge together with Su Yin. Of course, Ma Sanner could not let him participate in such a dangerous matter. If he did not stop this, Su Yin would definitely scold him. Ma Sanner could not convince Matthew, so he could only ask for help from Dragon's Fury. After Wang Yi found out about this matter and analyzed Matthew's psychological state, he clearly concluded that it was impossible to stop Matthew. Matthew felt guilty towards Su Yin. The CIA was targeting him, so he would definitely not let Su Yin face it alone. Of course, Su Yin did this not only because of friendship, but also for the sake of the country. Since that was the case, he might as well let them do whatever they wanted. After all, Su Yin was now back. Although he did not need to stay in the army, he was still a member of the Dragon Brigade with Wan Guangxiao's special permission. Since the Americans wanted to arrange for the 12 heavenly stars to provoke the Dragon Brigade in Huaxia's territory, then he would let them know who they should not provoke. Wang Yi did not discuss this with Wan Guangxiao and directly arranged this matter. After that, he told Wan Guangxiao, and Wan Guangxiao immediately agreed. He would not allow the Americans to provoke his people. The 12 heavenly stars, 12 Dogsh *T. If the 12 people from the CIA were the 12 heavenly stars, then the elites of Dragon's Fury under his command would be the 36 heavenly stars. Damn it. You want to play with me, and on my territory? If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know that Huaxia is the descendant of the dragon. Because of this, Ma Sanner brought Matthew along on this honeymoon trip. With Matthew, naturally, there would be people from the Dragon Fury team. This time, Ma Sanner was quite proud. Unfortunately, his fiancée did not come with him. Because the matter was too urgent, Matthew and the people from Dragon's Fury had gathered. His fiancée's leave would only be approved tomorrow, so he could only come with them first. Chapter 1303. When Lin Gu saw the arrival of these people, he felt as if a huge stone had been lifted from his heart. Now he had a plan. The Dragon Fury team had arranged for 8 strong reinforcements. Clearly, there were orders from above to let them go all out. With the 8 of them, plus Su Yin and Lin Gu, they had 10 people against 12. Although they didn't have the advantage in numbers, they weren't at a huge disadvantage like before. Once Chou Yun and Yi Fala's injuries were healed, they would have 2 more strong reinforcements. Moreover, little Dongbei's recovery was quite amazing. He was definitely a force to be reckoned with. At this time, Su Yin still didn't know that Zhou Meiyan had heard about what had happened from Ruan Qingshuang, and directly rushed to Xinjiang. She also brought Zui Yeming and Wang Zhe. Wang Zhe even brought the ghost-face Rakshasa blade that he hadn't used in a long time. It seemed like his blade was very thirsty for a taste of American blood. This was the first time Zui Yeming was allowed to bring his demon-subduing 9-section whip out. Clearly, Zhou Meiyan was also angry this time. She had been busy working in Sky Entertainment, and sometimes didn't have time to exercise. Although Zhou Meiyan didn't care about Matthew or not, since this matter involved Su Yin and wanted to bully Su Yin so fiercely, she definitely couldn't sit by and do nothing. Don't talk about the 12 heavenly stars. Even if it was the emperor, Zhou Meiyan wouldn't forgive them. Su Yin and the others had just led the first wave of celestial soldiers and celestial generals to the hotel's large conference room when Dan Jiahao happily rushed over with Zhou Meiyan and the others. Zhou Meiyan knew that Yanjing had sent people and calmed down a lot. It seemed that Su Yin had sacrificed so much for the army for so many years. Those people still cared about their feelings and knew to lend a helping hand at a time like this. If Su Yin encountered this kind of trouble and the army didn't send anyone, then in the future, If Su Yun worked for the army, Zhou Meiyan would definitely be the first to stand up and stop him. Why must Su Yun pay the price? There are so many people who can be used. Little did they know that Su Yun was now being targeted by the 12 heavenly stars because of the overall situation. Matthew had stayed behind in Huaxia's military and contributed to Huaxia's Military Research Institute. A large part of it was because of Su Yun's influence on him. It could even be said that if it were not for Su Yun, Matthew would not have stayed in Huaxia. Even if he would not contribute to the military of the United States, he would not contribute to the military power of Huaxia. It was all thanks to Su Yun that he was able to stay. Brother-in-law, if I knew you had so many strong helpers, we wouldn't have been in such a hurry to travel at night. It's too tiring to drive at night. We didn't even stop on the highway. My sister even rejected my request to use the restroom in the service area. Zhou Yeming said exaggeratedly. Wang Zhe didn't mind. He was the one driving the entire journey. He could accept being tired. After all, he was Zhou Meiyan's chauffeur. However, he did want to use the restroom on the way. After all, he had drunk a few cans of Red Bull. Speaking of which, advertisements these days were more or less exaggerated. Just because of an advertisement saying Red Bull gives you wings, how much money did they lose in the United States? Because they didn't grow wings after drinking, they were sued for advertising fraud. Red Bull agreed to pay $13 million in compensation. In the past 10 years, consumers who had bought Red Bull in the United States could get $10 to $15 in compensation. The Americans really didn't know how to use rhetoric. The beverage company also didn't understand. Could the Americans be as easy to fool as Huaxia people? If they were sued for advertising fraud because of this little bit of rhetoric, then Huaxia's instant noodle factory would close down. Damn it! Give me back my beef. In Su Yun's opinion, the Americans were all amusing idiots. If they really grew wings after drinking Red Bull, then it wouldn't be a small matter of losing $13 million. Why are you here? Su Yun smiled at Zhou Meiyan. It's just a small matter. Don't worry so much. I can handle it on my own. You're already working very hard. If you get distracted because of me, I'll feel bad. If you had told me earlier that they would come to help you, I wouldn't have rushed over so quickly, Zhou Meiyan said. But I definitely had to come. I heard that many people were injured. I brought some medicine for external injuries. It's all good stuff. Don't waste it. Take it and share it with your injured brothers. Where's Qingshuang? I'll go and see her first. She's in her room. Maybe she's already asleep, Su Yun said. Ruan Qingshuang had been resting in bed because of a head injury. Zhou Meiyan glared at Su Yun. You really don't know how to be considerate. You're facing such a big problem right now, and Guogua has been taken away by the enemy. Do you think she can sleep? Idiot. Okay, you guys plan your own things. I'll go and see her. I'll leave Zhou Yeming and Wang Zhe to you guys. If you need them, let them come with you. If not, let them stay and guard the hotel with me. Zhou Yeming immediately looked at Su Yun with anticipation. Obviously, he didn't want to stay at the hotel. Su Yun smiled. Since they were here, he definitely couldn't let them stay at the hotel. With Zhou Yeming and Wang Zhe, Yi Fala, Chou Yun, and Zhou Meiyan would stay at the hotel. He really had to bring these two powerful combatants with him. Otherwise, it would be a waste. Soon, Su Yun and the others came up with a battle plan. Because the Gemini stars were twins, there were 13 of the 12 heavenly stars in the CIA. The combatants that could be used here were Su Yun, Lin Ge Little Dongbei and Dragon's Furies Hua Leitang, Qianfeng, Han Zhan, Gong Sunlong Hua Xiaolu Chuxi by Songguang, Fan Shuang, Zhou Yeming and Wang Zhe. There were 13 of them. As for Chou Yun and Yi Fala, they were also powerful combatants. However, they were injured after all. It was better to let them stay at the hotel. Zhou Meiyan also stayed at the hotel to take care of everyone. If there were any accidents, there would be someone to take care of them. After all, there were too many injured people in the hotel. Chang, the 3 tigers of the southern city, and the others all had different degrees of injuries. It wasn't a problem for them to take care of other things. However, if they encountered people like the 12 heavenly stars, they wouldn't be able to handle even one of them. Su Yun believed that if the leaders of the 12 heavenly stars were smart enough, they wouldn't arrange for a large number of people to cause trouble at the hotel a second time. Their main mission would definitely be to stay at their stronghold to ensure that their stronghold wouldn't be counterattacked by Su Yun and the others. After all, the 12 heavenly stars still had the advantage at this moment. Therefore, Swameyan alone at the hotel was enough. Even if the 12 heavenly stars wanted to launch a sneak attack, they would at most send one person. That way, they wouldn't have to worry about Swameyan and the others not being able to handle it. The final battle plan decided that they would still carry out a sneak attack in the middle of the night. The 13 people involved in the operation were all agile people, so they had to split up. According to the location of the villa checked by the satellite, if there was surveillance equipment installed at the top of the attic, everything within 500 meters could be monitored. If there was military binoculars in the attic, based on the height of the house and the center of the house, the area within a radius of 3,000 meters could be seen. The Americans were good at using guns, so Su Yun was naturally worried about this. With so many people entering the country, they only needed to bring a few parts for each person to bring a set of sniper rifles to Huaxia, and then assemble it. After all, the Chetak manufactured by the American company Chetak? The M200 motion-operated sniper rifle was the most powerful weapon for intercepting long-range targets. The entire system could fire at a distance of up to 2,286 meters with less accuracy than a minute. It had the longest range of all modern sniper rifles. Although the M200's power couldn't be compared to the Barrett M99, its range was really terrifying. Chapter 1304. In the end, everyone came to a conclusion after discussion. Within 3,000 meters of the villa, everyone involved in the operation had to spread out as far as possible. Everyone had to do their best to use the surrounding cover to cover themselves and not be discovered. Within 2,300 meters, they had to be as if they were covered in thin ice. They had to ensure that their next step would not be discovered before they took the next step. It was better to be safe than sorry. Once a gunshot was heard, everyone had to immediately hide and retreat out of the sniper's range. As long as one person was exposed, everyone would quickly be placed in the dangerous sniper's range. Therefore, everyone's precondition was to ensure their own safety. Su Yun's requirement was that safety was the prerequisite. Everyone had to be careful, and be very careful. The other party is not a motley crew. Whether it is individual combat strength or teamwork, they are definitely a strong enough team. Su Yun finally emphasized, perhaps everyone thinks that this is Huaxia, our territory. But I can tell you clearly that whether this is Huaxia or not, the other party has the mentality that they will not leave until they complete their mission. Same for us. If we don't complete the mission, we will not give up easily. Lin Gu sneered. No matter where I am, I will never have the mentality of having the home advantage. Even in the United States, if they dare to provoke us, I will fight them to the death. I don't want you to have the mentality of having to succeed or die trying. Su Yun. No matter what, you have to be prepared for the worst. But no matter what, you can't let the worst happen to you. This is my only request for you. Qianfeng took the lead and stood up, answering seriously, yes. Then everyone in the Dragon Brigade stood up to accept the order. The current captain of Dragon's Fury, Hua Leitang, also did not dare to disobey Su Yun's orders. No matter what, Su Yun was Dragon's Fury's instructor. As long as Su Yun was present, everyone in Dragon's Fury had to obey his orders. Because Su Yun had been approved by Wan Leader to return to the Shenlong Special Operations Group, he was no longer an outsider. Shadow Dragon, thank you for coming to help me this time. Su Yun smiled. If you didn't come, I would have a headache. Does the main corps have any opinions or instructions on this matter? Of course. Hua Leitang also smiled faintly. The old man said that since the Americans came to Huaxia to cause trouble in Xinjiang, then we have to take action to teach them a lesson. If you don't seek death, you won't die. Let them know that Huaxia is not a place where they can do whatever they want. If they think that this is their American backyard, then don't be polite. Hua Xiaolu also chuckled. With the head commander's words, we can do whatever we want. He absolutely could not boost their arrogance. They could not bully others to this extent. He could not give them any more face. The head commander said that if this matter gets out of hand, he will take care of it. Those who are afraid of them are grandchildren. Brother, so you can rest assured. Don't let them off easily. Soo-Yun nodded. With the head commander's words, I can rest assured. I'm just afraid that if this matter gets out of hand, you won't be able to report back when you go back. If I cause you to be locked up in the detention room, even if we are locked up, we can't let the Americans get away with this. Hanjan said. Otherwise, they will only become more and more ignorant of their own surname. This matter is to fight to the death with the Americans. Yo, brother, you have a lot of awareness today. Gong Sunlung laughed and said. In the past, you would never say such things. You would always say things like must obey orders or can't act rashly without orders. You really have guts when you say these words today. When did I not have guts? Kid, I think you are tired of living, right? Hanjan laughed and gave Gong Sunlung a kick. With their presence, the atmosphere was more or less livelier than before. They needed to decompress before the mission. Because everyone present knew very well that waiting for 3 o'clock in the morning was the slowest time of the day. It was also the time when people were most tired and sleepy. Even if the other party was a CIA agent and must have received training in this area, this was still the time when their vigilance was the easiest to relax. Everyone was like this, including the people in the special forces. It was easy for them to relax their vigilance at this time. Therefore, the people in the special forces preferred to take action at this time. Because the people who carried out the mission were always the most awake, no matter when, where, or who. This sharp difference may seem insignificant, but it was likely to be the key to success or failure. The needle of time was getting closer to the best time. Soo-Yun finally made a decision at 2:15. Everyone follow me. From now on, no one can act or make decisions without authorization. Do you all understand? Understood. Everyone said in unison. Just as Soo-Yun and the others were ready to take action, Chin-Wan gently pulled him. She definitely could not participate in Soo-Yun's mission, but she was worried. Therefore, she wanted to make some preparations of her own. However, she also knew that no matter what she did, she would need Soo-Yun's permission. Soo-Yun was stunned. He looked back at Chin-Wan. I will be ready to contact the armed police, if. Chin-Wan did not know what to say. If none of us are back by 6 o'clock, then you will mobilize all the police forces you can mobilize and surround that place. But don't act rashly. You must stay calm. Let the leader contact the higher-ups and find the people in the special forces to deal with it. Soo-Yun made it very clear that the ordinary police could not deal with this. I will emphasize for the last time. You must stay calm. Because if we really encounter any accident, the hope of rescuing Guogua is all on you. Chin-Wan heard this and could not help but tear up. Why did it sound like the last words of farewell? How annoying. But don't worry for Guogua's sake, for everyone's sake. I won't let everyone fall into an unsolvable predicament so easily, Soo-Yun said. Please take care of everyone here. Soo-Yun, what about me? The initiator of this incident, Matthew, who had been silent all night, finally could not help but say, I am the person involved. Am I supposed to just sit here and do nothing? I know why you are here. Soo-Yun finally looked at Matthew. He had been avoiding Matthew's gaze because he did not want Matthew to feel pressured. But now, it seemed that Kevin Matthew was under a lot of pressure. He could not accept the fact that he could not take responsibility for this matter. But you can't go with me. But reality was reality. If he participated, wouldn't it be the same as Soo-Yun sending a fat sheep to the 12 heavenly stars? Not to mention that he could not participate. Even the matter of him appearing in Xinjiang had to be kept secret. Not a single word could be leaked out. This was all potential danger and trouble. You should understand. Ma Saner also went forward to pull Matthew. This is indeed because of you, but don't put all the responsibility on yourself. This is also for the country, not just for you, understand? Ma Saner is right. Soo-Yun said. Matthew, this is indeed not just for you. If you really treat me as a friend, believe me, I will not let anything happen to you. I will not let the interests of the country be harmed. This is my responsibility. This is my mission. This is what I was born to do. Chapter 1305. The 36 stratagems were created by the people of Huaxia. The 12 heavenly stars used the tactic of luring the tiger away from the mountain to gain the upper hand. Su Yin was naturally unwilling to give up. There was another reason why he sent Ellie back, and that was to sow discord. A dying person who was intentionally abandoned for the sake of a companion's mission. Her mentality was definitely different from that of a normal person. Even if Ellie was already prepared to sacrifice everything for the country, it would still be difficult for her to accept such a sacrifice, right? It did not seem like she was sacrificing herself for the country, but more like she was being used by a villain to send herself to her death. Therefore, even if Ellie could not successfully bring Guogua out of the 12 heavenly stars as she had imagined, she could still achieve the goal of disrupting the enemy's morale. Once the people of the 12 heavenly stars had conflicts, things would be much easier. Internal strife did not seem to hurt anyone, but it hurt the hearts of the people. Once the hearts of the people were scattered, the team would naturally disperse. The so-called tacit understanding of a team must be built on the foundation of enough trust in the team. Otherwise, a plate of loose sand would definitely not be able to accomplish anything. It was because of this that Su Yin had the confidence to win. However, he did not tell this to the others. Underestimating the enemy was a kind of mentality, and this kind of mentality was often more fatal than anything else. This operation was already very dangerous. If his words caused the Brothers of Dragon's Fury to underestimate the enemy and lead to other situations, it would be too unnecessary. If something happened to the Brothers of Dragon's Fury, Su Yun's sin would be too great. Their goal was to save Guogua, but the premise was that no one's life would be sacrificed. The country spent too much effort to cultivate a special forces member. Therefore, if the price was sacrificed, Su Yin would rather not do so. Although this seemed a little cruel to Guogua, it was a fact. It was a fact that he had to admit. He absolutely could not pay an unnecessary price because of this. This was the most basic premise. Otherwise, saving people would be meaningless. For example, the spirit of someone who acted bravely for a just cause and sacrificed himself to save someone from disaster was indeed worth promoting. However, after doing this, whether it was worth it or not, it would cause people to ponder deeply. Some people would say it was worth it. The saved person had a chance to live, and the family would not be sad because of it. But what about those who lost their lives trying to save others? He no longer had a chance in life, and his family would be sad because of this. There were always losses. Some people said it wasn't worth it, but a life was in front of them. How could they ignore it? After all, saving people could give them a new life, and maybe this new life could be a great person who could change the world. This was a very difficult choice. Su Yun, who had always chosen the latter, always felt that the former was more reasonable. At least, a person who was willing to sacrifice himself for others was a great person. No one knew what kind of person the person being saved was. On the question of whether it was worth it or not, Su Yin did not think it was worth it. Even if the other party's bargaining chip was Guogua, Su Yin still couldn't deceive himself into thinking that it wouldn't be worth it to exchange the lives of any of the Special Forces members of Dragon's Fury. However, Su Yin definitely had to save people. No matter what price he had to pay, this was a contradictory existence. Su Yin himself couldn't explain it clearly. In the car rushing to the destination, Lin Gu was a little puzzled. Besides him and little Dongbei, there was no one else in the car, so he asked, "Brother, isn't that Ellie already used by us? Why don't we make preparations to cooperate from the inside and outside? Also, wouldn't telling them lessen their psychological burden? It's better if the psychological pressure doesn't lessen." Su Yin, I don't want any of you to underestimate the enemy. The reason I'm in the car with the two of you is to tell you that although we think that Ellie will help us because of her personal reasons, it's still an uncertainty. But this is an uncertain factor. None of us know if that woman is still alive, and we can't be sure that she will betray us because of us. What if her patriotism is many times stronger than we think? Lin Gu was stunned. It seemed that Brother Yin had considered a lot. Lin Gu really didn't think of so many things. If it weren't for Su Yun's reminder, Lin Ge would have really underestimated the enemy. After all, he was prepared to sneak into the enemy's rear with Su Yun alone. Now that there were so many helpers, Lin Ge naturally felt relieved. At any time, there's a possibility that we will be wiped out, Su Yun. Only by keeping this string taut will everyone not be in danger. I believe that any of you can do it, but the premise is that you have to tighten your nerves. Brother, I got it. Lin Ge said. Don't worry, I definitely won't drop the ball. I will be vigilant every minute. I won't underestimate the enemy. Me too. Little Dongbei added. As long as we listen to Big Brother Yin, there won't be any problems. Don't worry. I'll definitely be on high alert for this matter. I won't take a single wrong step or an extra step. I will do whatever you ask me to do. I definitely won't let myself drop the ball. I know that Big Brother Yin sent me here because he trusts me. Little Dongbei, we are very clear about your skills. And your aura is the least likely to be detected by them. Su Yin. If necessary, you may have to do the most difficult task. You must not drop the ball. Su Yun's high regard instantly made little Dongbei's heart surge. He must persevere on this matter, otherwise he would be letting down Brother Yun's high regard and trust in him. While they were talking, the car quickly arrived at the set point. It was impossible to drive any further. It would be too easy to alert the enemy. After everyone stopped the car, they immediately formed 4 groups according to Su Yun's arrangements. They sneaked in from the north, south, east, and west directions. When they entered the range of 2,000 meters, they all pulled away to maintain the distance and maintain that everyone acted alone. When they were all within 10 meters of the villa, everyone could see each other without saying anything. Now that it was the most difficult moment, everyone was mentally prepared. Lin Ge, Little Dongbei, Sui Yeming, and Wang Zhe were in a group of 4. Kuo Leitang, Gong Sunlung, and Hua Xiaolu were in a group of 3. Han Zhan, Chu Shi, and Bai Songguang were in a group of 3. Su Yin was in a group with Qian Feng and Fan Shuang. Su Yin chose to be in a group with the 2 of them. First, it was because Qian Feng was easily impulsive. Second, it was because he was worried about Fan Shuang. After all, they had not participated in any missions together, so there was no tacit understanding between them. Moreover, she was the only girl among the 13 people. Su Yin naturally had to bear the responsibility of taking care of her. After the grouping was completed, everyone began to prepare. Su Yun's group was in position at 3 o'clock. Lin Ji's group was in position at 6 o'clock. Kuo Leitang's group was in position at 9 o'clock, and Han Zhan's group was in position at 12 o'clock. Everyone calculated the time and decided that under the safest premise, they would try their best to sneak in within half an hour. The longer they delayed, the more dangerous it would be. This principle would never change. When the operation began, everyone's nerves were stretched taut. Qian Feng and Fan Shuang knew the reason why Su Yin chose them to be in a group with him. Obviously, he was worried about them the most. However, this was not the time to be distracted and think about these things. Since Su Yin was worried about them the most, then the 2 of them should be even more careful about this matter. They had to let Su Yin see that they had also improved and changed. Time passed by minute. After 15 minutes, Su Yin and the others arrived at the dangerous 2-kilometer range. He believed that the others should have arrived as well. There was no advantage to being in the suburbs, but there were many flowers, plants, and trees. There was no lack of cover, so he believed that everyone would be able to make it smoothly. Su Yin also did not hear any strange movements from the villa, so he was more at ease. Chapter 1306. None of them were a hindrance. They all entered within 2 kilometers of the villa, while ensuring their safety without being exposed. Although the sniper range was simulated by Su Yin, no one would treat it lightly. They had to avoid anything that might happen. Only then would they be able to live up to Su Yun's trust in them. Su Yun's psychological pressure was enormous. Everyone in the Dragon Fury team knew this very well. Even if everyone in the Dragon Fury team was prepared to sacrifice themselves at any time, Su Yun would still bear the enormous psychological pressure for them. This was a matter of national interest and national dignity, but it was also related to Su Yun's personal affairs. Therefore, everyone knew that their safety was not only related to themselves, but also related to Su Yun's inner feelings. Everything in Hua Leitang's group was proceeding in an orderly manner. They were the group that was progressing the fastest among the 4 groups. Gong Sunlung and Hua Xiaolu were both more cautious people, so they completely obeyed Hua Leitang's orders. Han Zhan's team followed closely behind. Chu Shi and Bai Songguang were also the calmest members of Dragon's Fury, so Su Yun didn't have to worry about their team at all. At this moment, Qian Feng and Fan Shuang, who were under Su Yun's leadership, were also unusually calm. They strictly followed Su Yun's orders. This already made Su Yun very satisfied. Their safety was also guaranteed. At this moment, Su Yun was most worried about Lin Jiyi's team. He wasn't worried about Lin Jiyi's execution of his orders, nor was he worried about Lin Jiyi's orders unconditionally. He was worried about Zui Yeming and Wang Zhe. After all, Wang Zhe was someone from the forest. In the past, he was a lone wolf without any organization or discipline in the underground world. He had never participated in such a group mission before. Su Yun was even more worried about Zui Yeming. After all, he was about the same age as Lin Ge. Whether or not Zui Yeming would accept this young man who was about the same age as him was their biggest challenge. However, Su Yun still made such arrangements. Naturally, he had his reasons. He needed Lin Ge and Zui Yeming to hone their skills. If something went wrong with their team, then they definitely wouldn't be able to complete the mission within the set time. However, everything was normal. Not only did they not cause any unhappiness, their progress was very stable. This was due to the mentality of competing with others. Zui Yeming was indeed a little unconvinced when Lin Ge was appointed as the team leader. However, he did not show his dissatisfaction in other actions. Instead, it inspired him to be more careful and cautious in doing what he was doing now. He wanted to use his perfect performance to convince everyone, and let Su Yun see that he was also a person who could take responsibility. If something happened next time, it wouldn't be a problem to let him be a small leader or something. Little Dongbei, on the other hand, was full of spirit. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to not let Su Yun down. Brother Yin said that they might still need him at the most critical moment. How could he not persevere until the last moment? With the enthusiasm and seriousness of these 2 people, Lin Ge naturally became braver as he fought. After all, Brother Yin had appointed him as the team leader. That meant that he trusted him the most. He definitely couldn't screw up. Everyone was so cooperative. If he made any more mistakes, then he really wouldn't have the face to face everyone. With these 3 guys leading by example, Wang Zhe was of course influenced by them. He was the oldest among the 4. Although he was not the team leader, he told himself that he had the responsibility to take care of these 3 guys. Under this kind of psychological competition, Lin Jiyi's team advanced faster after entering the range of 2,000 meters. Of course, this was under the premise that everyone was relatively safe. In this way, in half an hour, the 13 people were hiding in the various natural cover of the various green plants around the villa. They quietly got closer and closer to the target point, closer and closer. Ellie's current situation was obviously that she had been sentenced to death. No matter which path she chose, she couldn't escape the fate of being tortured to death by the pain of her intestines being broken. Gary kept speaking for her, hoping that Peter would give her a chance. After all, they had worked together for so many years. As long as he turned a blind eye to this matter, and let Ellie make up for her mistakes, this matter would be over. However, Peter wouldn't change his mind easily. How could he use someone he didn't trust anymore? Ellie's betrayal had already branded him with the crime of treason in his heart. You don't have to say anymore. He won't change his mind. Kitas knew Peter too well. He didn't want Gary to continue being so stubborn. Gary's last bit of patience finally exploded in his heart. He couldn't accept Peter's heartlessness. Peter, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're our commander-in-chief. I've already said all I can. If you insist on not giving me face, then don't blame me for not caring about the feelings between friends. When have you ever treated me as a friend? Peter sneered. Gary, this matter isn't about giving you face or not. This is a matter of principle. This is a matter of national interest. If you keep making mistakes, then don't blame me. I'm going to take Ellie away today. I'll fall out with whoever stops me. Jiali angrily rebuked. Among the 12 heavenly stars, the only one who dared to fall out with him was probably Aries' planet Peter. Ellie smiled bitterly and said to Gary, "You don't have to do anything for me. You have to complete the country's mission. Use that little girl to exchange for Matthew and bring her safely back to the country. I'm already an abandoned person and won't live for long. Let me settle my personal grudge with Peter alone." Everyone frowned. What did Ellie mean by that? Peter felt a headache coming on. "Ellie, you're no match for me. I really didn't want us to end up like this. I admit that I used you, but since you're back, why did you betray me? I don't want to betray the country, but I can't let go of you who used me." Ellie's eyes turned cold. "I'm no match for you, but at least I can die together with you, right?" As soon as she finished speaking, Ellie's figure flashed like lightning. She threw a punch at Peter without any defense. No one had expected such a sudden outburst of power. But from Ellie's actions, everyone could see that she was prepared to die. Peter's reaction was fast enough, but he was still somewhat hesitant. When Ellie punched his chest with all her strength, of course at the same time, he also blocked Ellie's chest with his palm. Both of them were pushed back a few meters and spat out a mouthful of blood. Ellie's sudden attack was effective. She only had 2 days to live. In these 2 days she had gotten over it. She didn't want to bear the crime of treason. But she would never let go of the person who made her bear the crime of treason, and had to endure the pain of her intestines being broken. Then we'll die together. No one will have a good ending. A person's mentality would always become twisted after being forced to a dead end. Ellie's mentality was already twisted. She couldn't agree to Peter's request. Why should the mission she exchanged for with her reputation and life become Peter's merit? If we die together. This achievement could be attributed to anyone in the 12 heavenly stars, but it definitely could not be attributed to Peter, because he was a despicable and shameless villain. Chapter 1307. The infiltration in the middle of the night was unexpectedly quiet. When everyone gathered cautiously, they realized that the infiltration was not as difficult as they thought. Instead, it made them feel puzzled. The simpler it was, the more careful they were. No one dared to say if the other party had done it on purpose. Luring the enemy deep into the enemy's territory was a common tactic. The CIA people were all scheming and astute. It was normal for them to use such tactics. However, the discordant sounds coming from the room were somewhat unexpected. The sounds of fighting were very intense. This made it very difficult for the people who were cautiously moving into the villa to understand. Why were they fighting with their own people? Lin Ji's lips curled into a knowing smile. It seemed that Brother Yun's hidden tactic of sowing dissension had worked. In fact, they did not have anything like the 3 days heartbreak grass. Even if they did, they would not have casually stuffed it into Alice's mouth. What the people of the 12 heavenly stars did in Huaxia was unforgivable. They could indeed kill them, but they would not use this kind of sadistic poison. Su Yin and Lin Gu were not such vicious people. Even if they wanted to kill them, they would give them a quick death. To put it bluntly, they were working for their country. Because they were on opposite sides, there was no right or wrong. No one was good or bad. As long as they stood on the side of their country's interests, there was no distinction between good and bad. Conflicts caused by different standpoints were very common in the international community. Everyone was working for the country, so it gradually became an unwritten rule. In this kind of battle, if you must kill the other party, then give the other party a quick death, as a form of respect for the other party's contribution to the country. Although this rule was unwritten and no one read it out loud, it naturally formed in the hearts of people like Su Yin and the others. This seemed to be a common problem, because in this kind of battle, there was no eternal victory. There would always be a time of defeat. People from their own country would fall into the hands of the other party. If everyone gave each other a quick death, it would be as humane as possible. If they all tortured each other for this, there would never be an end. After all, they were all working for their country. They could not be compared to those motley crew. Those who liked to abuse prisoners of war were extremely vicious criminals. They were different from those people. Although they would kill, there was still a difference. One kind of killing was insulting and provocative, while the other kind of killing was respectful and dignified. Although the result was the same, the meaning was very different. This was the biggest difference between a regular army and a mob. Although the 12 heavenly stars were abominable, Su Yun and the others had to admit that their actions were not for their own personal gain. Instead, they were risking their lives for the benefit of their country. No matter who it was, regardless of their position in this matter, this spirit was worthy of respect. Therefore, the 3 days heartbreak grass was just a lie. It was just a ploy. All is fair in war. Just like how the 12 heavenly stars lured the tiger away from the mountain to capture Guagua, they would never think that their approach was despicable and dirty. They just wanted to achieve their goal with the least loss. This was the consistent style of the Americans. Reducing casualties as much as possible was what they pursued. Su Yun used the sowing of dissension to reduce unnecessary casualties. Therefore, everyone's goal was the same. They were all thinking for their own people. However, the effect of the sowing of dissension had greatly exceeded Su Yun's expectations. Su Yun had indeed thought that Ellie would have differences and conflicts with them. However, he had only said that she would distract the 12 heavenly stars. He had never thought that it would cause them to fight. This was really a big gift from Ellie. If there were internal conflicts among the 12 heavenly stars, it would be much easier to take them down in one fell swoop. The chaos in the villa was indeed something that Su Yun had never expected. Ellie's attack had directly caused Jelly to explode. Peter's palm had injured Ellie quite badly. Of course, Jelly would be angry. Jelly did not care that Peter was also injured. He directly vented all his anger on Peter. Of course, this was not something that others would allow. Once they started fighting, things would be out of control. They would really be in chaos. Kitas immediately stepped forward to stop Jelly. In the face of such a matter of principle, Kitas could not be bothered to consider Jelly's feelings. It was precisely because they were friends that he had to stop Jelly from attacking. This was a great act of rebellion. Are you crazy? Jelly, stop it. Kitas frowned and said angrily, "Do you know what you are doing? If you really attack, then you will be guilty of the same crime as Ellie. You must clearly remember your mission, and remember our discipline. What the hell is wrong with you? Hurry up and wake up. Don't be so stubborn. The one who is stubborn is not me. It's Peter. Isn't he just afraid that Ellie will steal his position in the future because of her relationship with Officer Douglas? That's why he deliberately used this method to get rid of Ellie." Jelly had completely lost control of himself. "Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. Peter, I have long disliked you. Tell me, other than the fact that you came to the CIA 3 years earlier than me, what else do you have? What more do you have than me? How much stronger are your abilities than mine?" Peter was successfully ambushed by Ellie, and the anger in his heart could no longer be suppressed. Facing Jelly's questioning, he could no longer endure the resentment in his heart. "I know you have always been dissatisfied with me. Today I will let you know why, in the CIA's 12 heavenly stars, I am the one who has the final say." Seeing that Peter was about to go berserk, the stalwart star, Taurus star and the others had no choice but to join in to stop him. They had all seen an angry Peter before, and he was not someone to be trifled with. Although Jelly was strong enough, if the two of them fought to the death, then their mission in Huaxia would be even more difficult. "Peter, you must calm down. You are the commander. You must remain calm. You must think clearly about our purpose in coming to Huaxia. Our mission is not over yet." The stalwart star stopped him. "You can't lose your mind. We will persuade him on his side. What you need now is to calm down yourself." A cruel smile appeared on the corner of Aries Star's mouth. "I have been calm for a long time. I have been patient. I am thinking of the overall situation. I am thinking of everyone, but if someone wants to destroy it, then I don't have to endure forever. It is time for this problem to be solved. Peter, don't be impulsive. Impulsiveness is the devil." Taurus Star did not dare to let go of his arm that was holding Aries. "Calm down. Calm down again. There must be another way to solve this problem. Don't use such an impulsive method to solve the problem." Jelly was still adding fuel to the fire. Let go of me. Kitas, if you still treat me as a friend, then let go of me. Today, between Peter and me, one of us must die. Otherwise, this matter cannot be solved. Then show me some strength. Let me see where you get the courage to say this to me. Peter's smile became colder and colder. Chapter 1308. There was still a certain gap between Gita's and Gary's strength. Gary's strength could be said to be the most terrifying among the 12 heavenly stars. His strength was second only to Taurus in the 12 heavenly stars, and his speed was second only to Sagittarius. However, his explosive power was far greater than Taurus and Sagittarius. Although Kitas could stop Gabriel in the shortest time possible, once Gabriel's strength exploded, he would not be able to withstand the moment Gabriel threw him aside. Gary furiously shook off Gita's obstruction and went straight for Peter. This was bad. How could Peter tolerate Leo's rudeness in front of so many people? Kill. He must be killed. Kill one to warn the rest. Absolutely not. This was a provocation to his leadership, a provocation to his dignity and power. If he ignored this kind of declaration of war, then what dignity would he have in the future? How could he raise his head in front of the 12 heavenly stars in the future? Because of this, Peter would absolutely not tolerate Gary, nor would he be soft on him. At this moment, he only had one thought: kill. He would use a thorough punishment to announce to the rest of the 12 heavenly stars that he was their leader, who could never be disobeyed. A cold light flashed, and a silver pistol appeared in Aries Peter's hand. Although he was blocked, he still aimed at Gary and pulled the trigger without hesitation. This pistol had been specially modified. Now, ordinary bullets could at most deal with ordinary people. Even if it hit someone from the 12 heavenly stars, it would at most cause superficial damage. It would not have much effect at all. The bullets fired from this pistol that had been modified by the Special Weapons Research Department were very different from ordinary bullets. It would not explode in the body like ordinary bullets. Instead, it would rapidly transmit a viral infection source through the blood vessels to any part of the designed person's body. It could paralyze the entire body in the shortest amount of time, and finally cause the heart and brain to be completely paralyzed and die quickly. This gun was unique to Peter. He was the commander. This gun was not only to deal with difficult opponents, but also to punish traitors to the country. He had the right to kill traitors to the country on the spot. But now, Gary's actions were not considered a betrayal of the country. Even if Ellie really betrayed the country, she was not killed on the spot. Instead, she was asked to be sent back to the country to be investigated and convicted. Peter, on the other hand, pulled out his gun and wanted to shoot Gary to death because he was protecting her. No matter what, this was a bit too much. The moment the trigger was pulled, Pisces and Scorpio lunged forward at the same time, directly pushing the pistol away from Peter's hand. Bang! The bullet pierced through the sofa and penetrated deeply into the floor. The room was filled with the faint echoes of the gunshot, and in an instant, it became silent. Peter's actions were a little crazy. He was also reminded by the gunshot. If he really killed Leo on the spot because of such a small matter, he would not be able to explain himself when he returned. After all, it took a lot of effort for the country to nurture a talent. Gary was a talent among talents in all aspects. He had sacrificed a lot for the CIA. Of course, he had contributed a lot, and he had also put in a lot of hard work. If he didn't have enough evidence and an explanation for shooting him, he wouldn't be able to convince the public. He might even end his own future because of this. Thinking of this, Peter couldn't help but feel a little scared. Impulsiveness is the devil. This sentence was too reasonable. There was no medicine for regret in this world. Once something was done, it couldn't be taken back. It was such a simple principle, and he had been blinded by impulse. Although it was a good thing that the shot didn't hit, it angered the fire in Gary's heart even more. He lunged at Peter crazily. This damn guy, he actually used that gun to deal with him. Gary could tolerate Peter beating him to death with his fists. He wanted to die convinced. But he definitely couldn't tolerate Peter using that weapon on him. That weapon was reserved for traitors. Bullets were used on criminals. Not wasted on a soldier with a lot of military achievements in the CIA. Peter was simply a bastard. You want me to die, and you want to charge me with treason? No one could stop Gary's anger. Among the 12 heavenly stars, with the exception of Ellie, everyone surrounded him. They wanted to stop the raging Gary. They couldn't let him make a move. If they let him make a move, something bad would happen. Although Peter regretted it, there was no apologetic expression on his face. He sneered and threw the gun on the sofa. You really don't deserve me to use that gun on you. You are just a waste of bullets. Let him go. I want to see where his courage and confidence comes from. He has always thought that he is the strongest. Come, lion, bite my throat. Peter's provocation and anger struck Gary's heart again and again. He had really reached his limit. A gunshot rang out from the villa. Instantly, Su Yin and the others, who had just relaxed slightly, became tense again. The tense atmosphere suddenly froze in the relaxed environment. In an instant, no one dared to breathe. At this time, they could either continue to lurk and see how this farce would end, or they might be able to reap the benefits. Of course, this was also risky. Perhaps after the shooting incident, one side would take the initiative to admit their mistake and admit defeat. This meant that their relationship would quickly return to its previous state. Such a state would be beneficial for their stability and unity. Su Yin only had a very short time to make a decision. To wait or to make a move now. After a quick judgment, Su Yin came to a conclusion. Instead of waiting without knowing the consequences, it was better to make a prompt decision and rush in, directly ending all of this. Prepare for battle. Under Su Yin's command, everyone quickly got ready. When Su Yin took the lead and rushed into the villa, everyone else jumped up. The broken door near the door, and the broken window near the window. Just when Gary's murderous intent towards Peter had reached its peak, the villa's doors and windows were suddenly shattered by an external force. The 13 people who had suddenly entered the villa had completely caught the 12 heavenly stars off guard. All of this happened too suddenly, and no one present had time to prepare for it. This was especially true for Gary. All of his anger was focused on Peter. Even the sudden appearance of the 13 people could not stop his impulse and desire to attack Peter. This was already a fist that he could not stop. Su Yin's group, who had suddenly rushed into the room, had completely disrupted everyone's attempt to stop Gary. Therefore, Gary's unstoppable heavy fist was like a heavy bomb, violently smashing into Peter, who had completely lost his defense and vigilance against him. Peter had long been shocked by the sudden intrusion. How could he have the time to care about Gary? He had never expected that Gary would still be able to expend more than 30% of his physical strength to seriously injure him in the face of such a powerful enemy. This mouthful of blood was not only an internal injury, but also a source of anger. However, Su Yin and the rest did not have the time to watch a good show, nor did they have the time to let the 12 heavenly stars explain to each other. They immediately made a move. Just because of Lion Star Gary's heavy punch, Su Yin did not hesitate to choose him as his opponent. This guy's strength was definitely quite strong. He would always choose to leave opponents who were too dangerous for himself. Chapter 1309. As the adjutant, Stalwart Star Derek naturally had to step up when their commander was in a state of confusion and impulsiveness. The reason why Douglas made him the adjutant was because of his ability to adapt to situations. He was the quickest among the 12 heavenly stars. Whenever there was an accident or a sudden situation where Aries Peter was unable to control the situation in time, it was time for Stalwart Star Derek to step forward. His judgment was accurate. From these people who suddenly appeared, he immediately smelled the scent of danger. These people were definitely not normal people. They were definitely not the punks they met at Shinkai Hotel. Their bodies all had the scent of blood. These people had all experienced life and death situations. They were all people who had done great things. They were all people who had narrowly escaped death on some special battlefields. This was Stalwart Star Derek's evaluation of the Dragon Fury team. Obviously, his perception was not wrong. They were indeed people who had experienced life and death battles on the battlefield. Every one of them had fought side by side with the Grim Reaper, and they were people who would step into the gates of hell from time to time. In these people's eyes, fighting was very simple. It was just a job. If there was no internal strife between Leo star Gary and Aries star Peter, just based on the 12 heavenly stars' choice of hiding place, how could the enemy easily break through the encirclement? This fierce battle was simply self-inflicted. Stay awake. Prepare for battle. Stalwart star Darrett ordered. Other than Aries star Peter, who was heavily injured, and Leo star Gary, who was bristling with anger, the others quickly raised their spirits and consciously formed a defensive circle. Facing enemies from all directions, they also spread out and stood in the center of the villa's living room. Stalwart star Darrett and Archer star Ketas were on the east side. Taurus star Green and Gemini's Big Lot and Little Lot were on the west side. Pisces star Kahua, Cancer star Lair, as well as Leo star Gary, who had just punched Peter, were on the south side. Scorpio star Breen, Capricorn star Kovakin and Aquarius star Enika were on the north side. Other than Aries star Peter, who was carelessly injured by his own people, and Virgin star Ellie, who had no intention of participating in the battle, the rest of the 12 heavenly stars were all prepared for battle. Since the other party had already forced him to the door, unless he fought his way out today, he could only die inside. Since they're here, they have no intention of letting us leave alive. Stalwart star Darrett ordered. For our mission, for our country, and for ourselves, we must win this battle. We must charge out. If you're afraid of death, then be afraid of death. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Tianfeng spat. Don't flatter yourselves. You call this a mission? You came to Huaxia to stir up trouble, and you came to Huaxia to stir up trouble? The mission told you to eat poop, and you want to eat poop? If there's something wrong with your head, then get over here and let me give you a good smack. Taurus Green's cheeks twitched. Why are you talking nonsense with them? Today, whoever could stand at the end would leave this place alive. I'd like to see what kind of people you are, and what kind of capabilities you have. Green, don't underestimate the enemy. Pisces star Kahua cautiously said. Since they're here to help Yanlong and Su Yun, then they must be from Huaxia's mysterious dragon troop. These people are those guys with the codename Dragon. How many people are terrified by their reputation? Don't underestimate them. I'm afraid their combat power is much higher than what we imagined. Cancer star Lair sneered. To put it bluntly, you still have Chinese blood flowing in your veins. You haven't even started fighting, and you've already boosted the enemy's might and diminished your own. Humph. Seeing Pisces star Kahua, Lin Gu pointed at his nose and scolded. I thought you were a Japanese, so I wanted to teach you a lesson. I didn't expect you to be a Huaxia. Son of a bitch. What I despise the most in my life is people who worship foreigners. You're obviously a Huaxia, but you have to change your name and change your nationality. Fine. Then I'll beat you up like an American today. Don't talk nonsense with them. Sagittarius star Ketas was a little impatient. After all, their internal affairs hadn't been settled yet. They needed to solve the problems they were facing as soon as possible, and then deal with the internal problems. Who the hell wants to talk nonsense with you? Hua Xiaolu's temper flared up, and he couldn't hold it in anymore. After scolding, he glanced at Su Yun from the corner of his eye. He saw Su Yun slowly close his eyes. After about 2 seconds, Su Yun suddenly opened his eyes. This was the signal to start the battle. It wasn't just Hua Xiaolu who was waiting for Su Yun's order. Everyone was waiting for Su Yun's order. Everyone understood with one look from Su Yun. This was the order to start the battle. Almost at the same time, everyone rushed out with a howl. Including Su Yun, the 13 people didn't show any mercy. This kind of sudden group attack without any warning was definitely not something the 12 heavenly stars would expect. The rhythm was too uniform. After all, Su Yun had fought with everyone present, including little Dong Bei. So everyone understood Su Yun's every move. Any look, any weak expression, all represented some kind of order. Lin Gu, little Dong Bei, Zui Yeming and Wang Zhe fiercely attacked Stalwart star Darrett and Sagittarius star Ketas. Although Stalwart star Darrett and Sagittarius star Ketas weren't weak, Lin Ji's strength was absolutely outstanding. They also had the advantage of numbers. Little Dongbei's speed wasn't any slower than Kita's speed. Wang Zhe was also an experienced person, and Zui Yeming had a lot of ideas. In a 4-against-2 situation, they obviously weren't at a disadvantage. Hua Leitang brought Gong Sun Lung and Hua Xiaolu to attack Pisces star Kahua, Cancer star Lear, and Leo star Peter. Clearly, Peter was the most difficult person to deal with. Hua Leitang didn't hesitate to take on this heavy responsibility. Hua Xiaolu wanted to properly educate Hua Kahua. Gong Sun Lung and Cancer star Lear's strength were evenly matched. The two had just clashed and sparks flew in all directions. Han Zhan, Chu Shi, and Bai Songguang faced Taurus star Green and Gemini star Big Luote and Little Luote. Taurus star Green's strength was quite terrifying. No one in the 12 heavenly stars could compare. But his opponent today was Han Zhan. Similarly, he was the strongest person in the Dragon Brigade. From the first exchange of blows, the two of them were thoroughly competing with each other. Chu Shi and Bai Songguang faced Big Luote and Little Luote respectively. The twins cooperated quite well, but Chu Shi and Bai Songguang weren't careless either. The two of them had been partners for many years. Su Yun Qianfeng and Fan Shuang faced Scorpio star Breen, Capricorn star Kohuajin, and Aquarius star Inika. Clearly, Su Yun's group had the most advantage. After all, among the 3 of the 12 heavenly stars, there was no one who could fight against Su Yun. With Su Yun present, Qianfeng and Fan Shuang easily gained the upper hand against the 3 of them. The situation seemed to be evenly matched. Everyone's strength was also evenly matched. But the astute Aries star Peter was very clear that if this continued, they had no chance of winning. First, their aura was in the opponent's hands. The opponent controlled their aura. The pressure was on their own bodies. Second, although the opponent's strength was roughly the same as theirs, they had the advantage of 2 people in terms of numbers. The punch he received from Jelly sealed his heart, causing his strength to be greatly reduced. And Virgin star Ellie wouldn't make a move. Could it be that the heavens really want me to die today? Of course, Aries star Peter wasn't willing to accept this reality. Right. He still had that gun. That gun had only fired 1 bullet. There were still 11 bullets left. As long as he used these 11 bullets to hit the strongest 3 of the 13 opponents, then he could immediately reverse the situation. The strongest 3 of the opponents were naturally Su Yun, Hua Leitang, and Han Zhan. As long as these 3 people were crippled, then the situation would be in his hands. Now Peter didn't care about leaving Su Yun alive to find Matthew. He only had one thought. He couldn't be wiped out here. Chapter 13:10. This was the only way to turn the situation around. All hope rested on that special pistol. The inventor of the pistol was a military genius like Matthew. At such a crucial moment, the importance of a military genius was reflected incisively and vividly. Without such a military genius, there would be no way to get a weapon that could quickly eliminate the opponent's experts at such a crucial moment. Peter threw his life-saving straw on the sofa. However, the sofa had been pushed to the side because of the sudden situation. Just as Peter was looking around the room for his life-saving straw, a cold laugh drilled into his ears like a sharp sword. The anger, resentment, and hatred in the laughter were vividly reflected. The voice frightened him and made him uneasy, because the laughter was coming from Ellie, and the sofa was right next to Ellie. Ellie only needed to extend her hand a few centimeters forward to pick up the pistol that could turn the situation around. If he had encountered such a situation in the past, Peter would have laughed out loud because Ellie was the one with the most accurate marksmanship among the 12 heavenly stars. If Ellie fired, even if the opponent was an expert, the remaining 11 bullets would definitely be enough to hit 3 people. However, Peter had just fallen out with Ellie. How could he count on Ellie to help him now? However, what Peter did not expect was that Ellie would actually let bygones be bygones. Although the laughter made his hair stand on end, she still picked up the pistol. The pistol with the special bullets that could turn the situation around. Peter looked at Ellie with a gaze full of guilt. He used his eyes to tell her that she was a good person. They couldn't do without her. At such a crucial moment, they still needed to rely on her. If it wasn't for her, they would have been wiped out. With her, they had the chance to turn the situation around. However, what Peter did not expect was that the moment Ellie picked up the pistol, she actually pointed the muzzle at him. Peter's mind buzzed, and instantly became blank and blurry. Ellie picked up the pistol in the end not to deal with the opponent. She wanted to deal with him. Peter was completely in despair. With Ellie's marksmanship, he might have the confidence to dodge the first and second shot. But what about the third shot? The fourth shot? One had to know that the pistol still had 11 bullets that could completely kill any expert. If Ellie wanted him dead, he would have no chance at all. The smile on Ellie's face was getting colder and colder, which made Pete's scalp tingle and his legs go soft. Pete's confidence was getting lower and lower. He didn't even dare to think if he could dodge the first bullet, because he couldn't tell from Ellie's eyes when she would pull the trigger. If I die, you will never find out where that little girl is. Forced into a dead end, Peter suddenly shouted. Only then did he realize that when people had the chance to see their last straw of hope, they would desperately grab it. No matter who it was, when their life was about to come to an end, they would grab the last chance to fight with all their might. Could it be that Ellie chose to betray him because that little girl was her last hope? Peter seemed to have realized that he was using Ellie's last hope as the only bargaining chip to complete his mission. That was why Ellie hated him and wanted to kill him. That was why he was so merciless. This was the only explanation. Bang! The moment the gunshot rang out, Ellie's wrist suddenly shook. The pistol was pointed at the ceiling. The crystal chandelier on the ceiling was hit and fell to the ground with a clang. Hundreds of crystal balls fell to the ground with a crackling sound. At the most crucial moment, Su Yun threw out the only coin in his pocket. The coin hit Ellie's wrist less than half a second before Ellie fired the shot. In this half a second, Peter's life was saved. At this moment, Ellie also realized that the little girl was also her last hope. If Peter handed the little girl over, she might still be able to get the antidote. With this thought in mind, Ellie gave up on killing Peter. She believed Peter's words. The other 12 heavenly stars definitely didn't know where the little girl was. This matter was definitely in the hands of Peter alone. What did you say? Su-Yun looked coldly at Peter. I'll give you one last chance. We'll deal with this matter. You hand over the child. Otherwise, don't blame me. Peter, who managed to escape, finally calmed down. That's right. The little girl was not only his last hope, she was also his trump card. As long as the little girl was still in his hands, they wouldn't dare to do anything to him. I know why you're here. You also know why we're here. Peter calmed down. Negotiation was something he had originally planned to do. Now there was still a chance to negotiate. As long as there was a chance to negotiate and make them stop, the situation wouldn't be one-sided. If it wasn't for Gary's punch, he might have fought with Su-Yun and the others. However, that punch had hurt him too much. I'm not here to negotiate with you. Your goal has nothing to do with me. But for my child, you have to give me an explanation immediately. Su-Yun said. To live or to die, it's your choice. Ha ha ha. As expected of Yin Long. You have the confidence. But I advise you to think about it carefully. Don't be so self-righteous. Peter sneered. I want to solve this peacefully. If you insist on destroying our peaceful relationship, then no matter what the final result is, the little girl's fate will be the same. She will only have a dead end. You have no choice. If you want her to live, then sit down and listen to my conditions. Bastard. Are you even a man? You're using a child as a bargaining chip. Hua Leitang despised this kind of person the most. If you have any guts, then let the child go. We'll deal with our matters. I'll play with you until the end. Ha 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 ha. Do you think I'm a fool? Peter said. I know very well that this is Huaxia. It's your territory. If you can arrange for these people today, you can arrange for more people tomorrow. We'll always be at a disadvantage. So we have to have a bargaining chip. There's a saying in Huaxia. A strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. You're the local snake. Su-Yun didn't have the patience to waste time with him. If you want to use Matthew as a bargaining chip, then let me tell you, it's impossible. Yin Long, you have to think carefully. That little girl's life is in your hands. Peter said, then took out his phone and dialed a number. This was why he wanted to kidnap Guagua. After all, children were timid. As long as the call went through and the little girl cried, he believed that Su-Yun's heart would soften. As long as Su-Yun's heart softened, then the final winner today would still be them. Ah. Peter's smile was so confident. When the call went through, he said softly, "Let the child speak." After that, Peter turned on the speaker and put the phone in the middle of the floor. Su-Yun frowned and asked into the phone, "Guogua? Ha ha ha. If you don't want this little girl to die, then hand over Matthew. A flower of the motherland is more important than Matthew, right?" Peter laughed loudly. In his heart he thought, "Beg for mercy, little girl. Hurry up and beg for mercy. Let Yanlong tremble because of your begging. Let Yanlong give up for you. Let Yanlong abandon his last stand. Tremble all of you." Chapter 13:11. Guogua's voice came from the phone. Clearly, she was a little scared as she confirmed with Su-Yun. "Daddy, is that you?" "It's me, Guogua. I'm here. I won't let anyone hurt you. Don't be afraid." Su-Yun's voice was a little choked up. If he was in exchange for Guogua, he would not hesitate to agree to the 12 heavenly stars. However, the 12 heavenly stars wanted Matthew. It was related to whether the entire country's military power could be improved qualitatively. The price was too high. Su-Yun could not make the decision. "Big niece, just be obedient. Uncle Pigeon will definitely tear these bastards into pieces." Lin Ge gritted his teeth. In his heart, he once again despised these grandsons who used children as hostages. A group of sanctimonious trash. Using children as hostages. After confirming the voices of Su-Yun and the others, Guogua's voice was a little calmer and less afraid. Even her breathing was more relaxed than before. "Ask for help. Only your daddy can save you now." Aries Planet Peter could not wait to remind Guogua on the other end of the phone. "Your daddy has a way to save you. He just needs to send the person Uncle wants to me. Then you can reunite. Hurry and ask for help." Although Guogua was young, she had heard about Matthew from Ruan Qingshuang and the others' daily conversations. Therefore, she clearly knew what kind of person Matthew was, and what kind of meaning Matthew had to the country. Since Su-Yun was her daddy and she was Su-Yun's daughter, then she could not lose face in front of these foreigners and bring shame to the country. I'm not afraid. My daddy will definitely defeat you." Guogua did not know where the courage came from. "I know what you want to do with me, but I'm not afraid. Although I'm a child, since I'm Su-Yun's father's daughter, I can't drag him down. I'm not afraid of death. Don't even think about using me to exchange for the person you want. Impossible." Was this something a first grader would say? Su-Yun really couldn't believe his ears. Guogua could actually say such words. As expected of the daughter that Su-Yun had taken in. He did not lower his head in front of the bad guys at all. This was the backbone that the descendants of Yan and Huang should have. If even a 7-year-old child could do this, everyone present would naturally be greatly encouraged. Just based on little Guogua's spirit, they absolutely couldn't allow these Americans to have anything to do with Huaxia's land. Absolutely not. "Daddy, just do what you're supposed to do. No matter what happens, Guogua won't regret Guogua's decision." Guogua said with certainty and seriousness. "I'll always believe that Daddy will make the best decision. Guogua supports you." Damn it. Aries Planet Peter was completely enraged. He stomped the phone on the ground and shattered it. He roared angrily. "If you don't want to see this little girl again, then do as you wish. I also guarantee that you'll regret it. She'll die a terrible death." There was obviously someone on Guogua's side, but all the people from the 12 heavenly stars were gathered here. Who could be helping them watch over Guogua? Could it be that after they came to Huaxia, besides contacting Wei Yishan, they also found someone from Huaxia's underground world to help them? That was why they could hide Guogua in a place where no one could find her. Xinjiang's social relations were quite complicated. There were also many hidden experts in the underground world. There was no way to investigate this. Unless Aries Planet Peter spoke, no one would be able to find Guogua. "Yanlong, I'll give you one last chance. If you still don't make a decision, after an hour, if they don't get my order, they'll immediately kill the little girl." Aries Planet Peter said. "This is your last chance. You'd better think carefully before telling me. I don't have the patience to keep persuading you. Su-Yun looked at the phone that had been trampled to pieces by Aries Planet Peter. The anger in his heart was finally ignited. The one who doesn't have the patience to continue wasting time with you is me. Let them release the child immediately. I'll only give you one last chance. You're crazy. If you continue like this, the child will definitely die. Aries Planet Peter said. I only want you to hand over Matthew in exchange. The child won't die, Matthew won't die, and you won't die either. Everyone won't die. Don't you understand such a simple principle? I thought that the legendary Yanlong was a smart person. I didn't expect him to be a mediocre person. A mediocre person who can't even understand such a simple principle. Was this principle simple? Yes, it was too simple. If Matthew was handed over to a big empire that liked to use military power to speak on the international stage, they would develop more military weapons with ruling power. Who knows how many more people would die? There would be more countries and people in the world who would suffer. There would be more innocent people who would become homeless because of the war. They would become helpless and without shelter. There would also be more children who would lose their parents, parents who would lose their children, people who would lose their homes, countries who would lose their political power. This was a truly terrifying outcome. Matthew could never be used by a military empire. He needed to stay in Huaxia, stay in a country that could stabilize the international peace through military power. This was the real meaning of his existence. Hand over the child. Ellie raised the pistol in her hand again. This time, she still stood on Su-Yun's side without hesitation. The muzzle was still aimed at Aries Planet Peter's head. Peter didn't understand why. If she wanted to kill him just now, it might be because she felt that the situation wasn't stable enough. But now, the situation was stable. The scales of victory had tilted to their side. If Ellie took this opportunity to kill the opponent's leader, then everything could end peacefully. Ellie, are you crazy? Tianli Star Darrett was also very surprised. Indeed, Ellie's crazy behavior just now was understandable. But now, they really couldn't understand her crazy behavior. After all, they didn't know Ellie's inner world at this moment. Ellie held the pistol very steadily. I'm not crazy. The crazy ones are you. It's you who abandoned me without regard for anything. You didn't care about my life or death. Look at them. They are still not willing to give up on Matthew. Not willing to give up on a comrade. But you can give up on my life for the sake of the mission. Am I just an abandoned pawn in your eyes? No. You are not in my eyes. Leo Star Gary said immediately. No matter what, I will support you. Gary was about to walk forward, but Ellie quickly aimed her pistol. She didn't trust anyone now. Don't come over. Don't come over. I don't want to trust you anymore. Today you must release that child. Otherwise, in 2 days, I will die with my intestines broken. They gave me a huge poison. This is my last chance. Don't force me. Ellie. Sacrificing for the country is glorious. But sacrificing the country's interests for your own interests is sad and shameful. Aries Star Peter sighed with emotion. He tried to use his last chance to persuade Ellie. He made her point the pistol in her hand at the opponent. Today we have completed the mission. You are the biggest contributor. Our country has the most advanced medical technology in the world. It can definitely save your life. Do you think I will believe you? Alice said with disdain. My life is in my own hands right now. Peter, if you don't want me to live, then you should accompany me. Don't make sacrifice sound so noble. If it's so noble, then you should sacrifice yourself for me. If you are not afraid of death, then you wouldn't have shouted to save your life. You hypocrite. Chapter 13:12. Aries Planet Peter had thought of many possible endings to the mission, but he never thought that it would end with Ellie's betrayal. Indeed, as Ellie said, no one would want to give up at the end of their life. Instead, they would want to struggle, struggle, and struggle again. Want to catch. Hold on to the last chance. At this moment, Peter experienced the taste of despair. This feeling of not being able to hold on to the last life-saving straw was indeed hard to accept. If there was another chance, he would have chosen another method. At least, he would not have ended up like this, unable to clean up the mess. Originally, Ellie? Abandoning Allie was the only way he thought he could minimize the risk, wasn't it? Now it had become the move he regretted the most. Ellie, you can't kill him. Leo Stargary, who had always been on Ellie's side, suddenly spoke up for Peter. If you kill him, the meaning will be different. Ellie, point the gun at them. This is our mission, something we must do. Point the gun at them? Ha ha ha, then what? If they die, I die. You guys perform meritorious deeds. Live, go back and get glory. Become heroes in the eyes of the country and the people? Ellie's smile was somewhat distorted. Why? Why should I be abandoned? Abandoned? Why? Su Yun was very clear on the importance of grasping Ellie's position. As long as Ellie was pulled to their side, the 12 heavenly stars would be in big trouble. But if Ellie was persuaded by the 12 heavenly stars, they would be in trouble. Su Yun saw him in Peter's eyes, right? The fear of that gun. This meant that there was a serious problem with that gun. It was hard to say. Not abandoning, not giving up. This is the spirit of a team. If a team doesn't even have this spirit, why would they care about your life or death? Su Yun lightly smiled. This is not only the basic spirit of a team, but also the embodiment of respect for human nature and equality. You Americans? Don't you care about human rights? In your eyes, the Huaxia people who don't care about human rights understand this principle. Don't you understand it yourselves? Abandoning, giving up human nature is not equal. How can a chess player understand the lamentable abandonment of a chess piece? Peter also knew the importance of obtaining Ellie. Ellie, after the mission is over, you can punish me however you want. But now he had to focus on the big picture. Remember our mission. Don't be fooled by the enemy. How can the words of a team leader who can't even understand the concept of not abandoning and not giving up be trusted? Su Yun. Today he will abandon you once. Tomorrow, he will abandon you a second time, a third time. Not just you, but your team as well? Anyone here would be a bargaining chip that he would abandon in the future. Are you willing to be a bargaining chip? No. Of course not. Ellie screamed in her heart. She had her own power, the power to control her own life. Why should she let others control her fate? She wanted her human rights. No matter what she chose, it should be her own choice, not someone else's. What was she going to do? She had already deviated from the rules of the mission, so she might as well completely break the rules. Peter, I know that I betrayed my country and my mission. I deserve to die. But at the same time, you betrayed your comrades and your principles. You deserve to die as well. Ellie gritted her teeth and firmly raised the pistol in front of her. If I die, that little girl will die immediately. Peter screamed hysterically. As long as I'm alive, that little girl won't die. You still have a chance to live. Ellie. Do you think I will still believe you? Ellie sneered. Peter, ever since you came to Huaxia, you have been lying from the beginning to the end. You have been hiding from all of us and making your own plans. You are the chess player who will never care about chess pieces like us. I have given up my life. You should give up too. Peter suddenly turned his head and looked at Su Yun. I am telling the truth. If I die, Blood Yiksha will immediately kill that little girl. That is the order I gave her. If you don't believe me, then let her try to kill me. Su Yun's eyes widened. Blood Yiksha Xiao Qiao. When Su Yun was 13, he had heard of this woman who was the same age as him. At that time, Su Yun had just started to carry out missions under the leadership of the old members of Dragon's Fury. The 13-year-old Xiao Qiao already had the shameful title of Blood Yiksha. She was an S-level criminal wanted by the country because she killed 23 people in one night at the age of 13. Blood Yiksha had only been active for a short time in the underground world. After Su Yun became an adult, he had never heard of this person again. Later, he heard some rumors in the underground world. It said that the 23 people Blood Yiksha Xiao Qiao killed were from a violent criminal gang. When Xiao Qiao was 7 years old, she went on a road trip with her parents. When they were walking at night, they were stopped by the violent criminal gang. Xiao Qiao? Xiao Qiao's mother committed suicide because she couldn't bear the humiliation. Her father was also beaten to death because he fought with those bastards. The 7-year-old Xiao Qiao was sold to human traffickers at a low price. It could be said that in one night, Xiao Qiao's life completely changed. But no one knew how Xiao Qiao escaped from the hands of the human traffickers. Then no one knew where the 7-year-old Xiao Qiao stayed for the next 6 years. Where did she come from? Who taught her such terrifying strength? The 13-year-old Xiao Qiao suddenly appeared and completely wiped out the 23 violent criminal gang that had been at large for 6 years. She hated the unfairness of this society. She hated the trash of this society's police force. She hated that there were so many violent criminals that she could rely on force. Her methods were free and unfettered. She personally cut off the heads of the 23 people and hung them at the entrance of the police station. She even used blood to write down the crimes that the 23 people had committed 6 years ago on the ground at the entrance of the police station. In one night, the name Blood Yiksha spread through the entire Huaxia world. The surveillance camera at the entrance of the police station recorded everything, but because the people on duty that night were sleeping, they didn't notice it in time. This 13-year-old girl had become a terrifying wanted criminal known to every household overnight. But no one knew the pain and struggle in her heart. If it wasn't for the pain that the 23 people brought to her 6 years ago, there wouldn't be the Blood Yiksha of today. There wouldn't be this 13-year-old girl that could make people tremble in fear. In the next 5 years, what happened in all the major cities in the country? In these decapitation cases, the people who were killed were all famous local ruffians, the kind that didn't shrink from any crime. Blood Yiksha's reputation became more and more famous. Later, the country prepared to send out the Dragon Fury team to deal with her problem. But at this time, Blood Yiksha Xiao Qiao suddenly disappeared without a trace. She wasn't found anywhere, and it didn't happen in society anymore. There were similar decapitation cases. Later, there was a rumor that the people that Blood Yiksha killed in these 5 years were all contacts in the phone of the 23 people. They were all ruffians that were related to them. No one could confirm the authenticity of this rumor, but they had to admit that the things that Blood Yiksha did were very controversial. She did commit a heinous crime, but many people thought that her actions were a kind of justice for the heavens. At least the people she killed deserved it. The dead people. They were all trash ruffians that were created by the negligence of certain people in certain places and departments in the country. Many of the things that they did, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they deserved to die. They really deserved to die. How could Su Yun not be shocked when a person who had disappeared for 7 or 8 years was suddenly invited by one of the 12 heavenly stars to use him? Also, he hadn't interacted with Blood Yiksha before, so he couldn't determine what kind of person she was. Chapter 13:13. I'm not joking with you guys. Yanlong, think carefully about what kind of person Blood Yiksha is. If you don't want to see your daughter's head the next day, then tell Ellie to put down her gun. Peter knew better than anyone else that the only person who could calm Ellie down was Su Yun. Moreover, his ability to eject hidden weapons was definitely incredible. His speed was even faster than Ellie's gun. Su Yun had to believe Peter's words because he mentioned Blood Yiksha's name. Why did this person, who had not been mentioned for many years, reappear in the underworld? Moreover, why did he team up with the 12 heavenly stars? Money, I gave her money. Peter seemed to be able to read Su Yun's mind and immediately explained. I gave her enough money for her to help me kill someone. Yanlong, your decision concerns the fate of a child. Hurry up and make a decision. Su Yun was caught in a dilemma. At this moment, his mind was blank. What should he do? He could not give up on Guogua, but he could not let go of the 12 heavenly stars either. What method could he use to get the best of both worlds? Suddenly, there was a sharp breaking sound outside the villa. A black Audi drove directly to the entrance of the villa. The door opened and the first person Su Yun saw was Matthew. Following closely behind Matthew were Chong and the 3 tigers of Southern City. Su Yun's mind buzzed. His originally blank mind became even more blank. He had made it very clear to Matthew that he could not appear in the field of vision of the 12 heavenly stars. Once he appeared, the 12 heavenly stars would have a target and Matthew's advantage in the dark would be gone. This wasn't a good thing for them. Things had gone south. Matthew's appearance had instantly changed the atmosphere of the scene. Peter was very clear that as long as he caught Matthew, everything would be over. They had the little girl in their hands. As long as they got Matthew, all the advantages would be in his hands. At that time they could leave if they wanted to, stay if they wanted to, and do whatever they wanted. Ellie's heart instantly changed. She also knew that if they took down Kevin Matthew, there would be hope for her antidote. Her life would be guaranteed. In an instant, Peter and Ellie reached a consensus. Ellie's pistol changed direction. She no longer pointed it at Peter, but at Soo-Yun's side. Catch Matthew. Without the threat of death, Peter's mind was much clearer, and he immediately gave the order. Aries Peter's order. Soo-Yun also clearly knew that Matthew was their last trump card. If he was caught by the 12 heavenly stars, then everything would be meaningless. He no longer had any capital to negotiate with the people of the 12 heavenly stars. The trouble was now. Xiangzi and the others were really confused. Why would they do something so irrational? How could this? Protect Matthew. Don't let them get their hands on him. Soo-Yun also went all out. Even if he had to pay a high price today, he could not let Peter catch Matthew. Absolutely not. Everyone's target was Kevin Matthew. Archer Star Kitas was the first to react and quickly rushed out. Lin Gu exclaimed, "Oh no," and chased after him. This guy's speed was too fast. At this moment, a hand suddenly grabbed Darrett's shoulder at the critical moment. This instantly made Darrett lose his balance and gave Lin Gu a chance to catch up to him. This time, it was Lil Northeast who pulled him. His speed was not inferior to Kita's, so the moment Kita's burst out, Lil Northeast caught up with him. This helped Lin Gu delay the time difference of less than a second. But in less than a second, it was possible to change the entire situation of tonight's battle. Little Northeast had always believed in Soo-Yun's words. He was important. He came here to perform meritorious deeds. He was not here to be a walk-on. He wanted to fulfill his purpose of coming here. His mission today was successful because of this. Because of this, the scales of victory once again tilted towards Soo-Yun and the others. Lin Gu took down Kita's. Zhuo Yeming also did not hesitate to whip Heavenly Strength Star Darret, blocking Darret behind him. At the same time, everyone in the Dragon Fury team confronted the 12 Heavenly Stars. No one was willing to give way. They directly bet their lives. Xiangzi and the 3 Tigers of Southern City were stunned when they saw this scene. The moment Matthew came down, more than 20 people rushed towards him. Chang knew that he had caused trouble for Brother Yun again. But he did not want it to be like this. But Matthew could not sit still in the hotel. Matthew told them that if anything happened to Soo-Yun or anyone else because of him, he would definitely not live in this world. Especially the girl Guogua who was taken away as a bargaining chip because of him. If anything happened to Guogua, he would never forgive himself. He could not let a little girl bear the danger that originally belonged to him. He could not do it. Everyone was moved by Matthew's words. After analyzing the 12 heavenly stars' persistence, he concluded that if he did not appear, the possibility of Guogua's life being in danger was 100%. These words shocked Ruan Qingxuang. Finally, under Matthew's insistence and everyone's tacit agreement, Chang and the 3 Tigers of Southern City had no choice but to go with Matthew. But no one would have thought that their arrival would cause such a huge change. Just now the advantage was still in the hands of Soo-Yun and the rest. Now the balance was broken. Ailey was the key to today's victory and defeat. And this key person's mind was very fragile at this time. Any slight movement would cause a serious change in her mentality. Ailey's pistol was already aimed at Soo-Yun. As long as she gently pulled the trigger, everything would be completely over. A group of dragons without a leader would not be able to achieve anything. Soo-Yun was their leader. As long as they killed Soo-Yun, everything would be over. Everything would be as they wished. In Ailey's eyes, there was only one target, Soo-Yun. Everything that was happening around her seemed to have nothing to do with her. She pulled the trigger without thinking. Bang! A gunshot sounded. The bullet exploded in the barrel and angrily shot towards Soo-Yun's back. This bullet could instantly fill any part of the human blood vessels with the super paralyzing drug contained in the bullet. No expert could withstand it. No matter who was hit by this bullet, they would definitely die. By the time Soo-Yun realized the danger, it was already too late. His attention was focused on Matthew. He had no time to care about AI Lee aiming at him. But there was one person who had been silently protecting Su Yun. The moment the bullet was fired, the fan Shuang, stood behind Su Yun. The bullet directly penetrated her body. With a muffled groan, she directly fell into a pool of blood. Everything happened too suddenly. No one had the chance to react. But everyone's orders were still to protect Matthew. Except for Su Yun, no one realized that the fan Shuang, had been shot. Yanlong's reverse scale was mercilessly torn off. Su Yun completely exploded. That soundless pressure was like magma erupting from a volcano, instantly eroding the entire space. Even the air was filled with a strong murderous intent. Chapter 13-14. No one saw how Su Yun made his move. It was an instant kill. All the brothers of the Dragon Fury team couldn't help but shudder, because they seemed to see Yanlong sacrificing himself for everyone's benefit. That Yanlong who was enraged and couldn't control himself. This time, the one who also fell into a pool of blood was still the fan Shuang, who carried the title of Yanlong. Could it be that this title was cursed? Su Yun's anger couldn't be suppressed. Once again someone was sacrificed. Once again something he didn't want to happen. The fan Shuang in the pool of blood had already closed her eyes. Everything happened so suddenly, without any warning. How could Su Yun accept such a fact? He absolutely wouldn't allow it. Why did it turn out like this? After Ellie was killed, all the anger was transferred to Peter. If it wasn't for his gun, if it wasn't for his appearance, if it wasn't for him kidnapping Guogua, none of this would have happened. All the anger was transferred to Peter in an instant. Su Yun's murderous aura was so cold. The kind of anger that could almost tear people to shreds was so frightening. The inner demon that Su Yun had buried deep in his heart, that he thought had been completely eliminated, once erupted. It was so terrifying that it made one's heart tremble. Everyone in the Dragon Fury team clearly remembered Su Yun when his inner demon broke out. The terrifying scene of his fighting strength multiplying was still fresh in everyone's mind. At that time, if Wan Guangxiao hadn't arrived in time to stop it, who knew what Su Yun would have done? Therefore, the people of Dragon's Fury had a lingering fear in their hearts. Now Su Yun once again displayed his terrifying fighting strength. It clearly showed that his inner demon could no longer be controlled. Everything that had happened could no longer be controlled. Fan Shuang, death completely enraged Su Yun, angering Yanlong who couldn't control himself, and was furious. Tonight was destined to be a night of bloodshed. Peter clearly realized that his only chance was the pistol. The pistol that fell from Ellie's hand just now was less than 3 meters away from Peter. As long as Peter picked up the pistol, he still had a chance to control the situation. Peter, who had been punched by Gary, could not compete with Su Yun. The only thing he could do was to get that gun. The gun that could save his life. Pa! Just as Peter reached out to grab the pistol, a black shadow descended from the sky. Su Yun stepped on Peter's palm and the pistol. Then he heard the sound of bones cracking and the mechanical sound of the pistol snapping. Peter's entire face instantly turned deathly pale. That kind of heart-wrenching pain was nothing compared to the despair in his heart that terrified him the most. Peter had never underestimated Su Yun's strength, but he could never have imagined that this person's strength after erupting in an instant was simply beyond his imagination. This kind of strength even gave him an illusion. Was this really just a captain instructor of the Dragon Brigade Special Forces? Not only Peter, but everyone also had an illusion in that instant. This illusion made them not dare to believe that Su Yun was only a Master Realm expert. No. It could even be said that this illusion made them suspect that he was even more terrifying than an Earth-profound realm expert. They had not even felt this kind of suffocating aura from Wan Guangxiao, a 9th-level Earth-profound realm expert. If I die, that little girl. Peter did not finish his sentence, but there was already no chance. Su Yun simply did not listen to what he wanted to say. Everyone only saw Peter's head being twisted 360 degrees by Su Yun's neck, and directly drooped in front of his chest. He did not even finish his sentence, and went to report to King Yanluo, who knew if King Yanluo would open a separate 19 levels of hell when he saw this foreigner properly entertain these international friends. so as to avoid going back and telling Death that he did not entertain them well. How could the 12 heavenly stars still have the heart to continue fighting? Peter's neck had been broken. Lion Star Gary looked at the dead Ellie, and suddenly roared as he rushed towards Su Yun. The person he loved the most died under this person's fist without any resistance. Anyone with a bit of rationality should know that rushing towards Su Yun at this time would only lead to death. Su Yun's battle strength after erupting was really too abnormal. His skill's damage was multiplied by several times. How could they be his opponent? The others could only watch helplessly as Gary rushed to his death. This time, everyone saw it very clearly. It was still an instant kill. One punch to determine the winner. When Gary's fist was still a few centimeters away from Su Yun's entire body suddenly disappeared like a bolt of lightning, and then suddenly appeared in the air. His posture of leaping high, his fully drawn fist was like an arrow shot out, and ruthlessly smashed into Gary's face. Lion Star Gary's body was like he was hit by a huge electric current. His body heavily fell to the ground with a bang, and then bounced up high. At the same time, Su Yun's tricky knee strike directly hit Gary's bouncing body. Gary's huge and strong body was like a collapsing wall, crashing towards Star Pisces Kahua with a bang. Fortunately, Kahua was already prepared, and used all his strength to control Gary's body. But at this moment, Gary was already like Peter and Ellie, not breathing at all. In just the blink of an eye, Su Yun used a completely unstoppable power, like a king descending from the heavens, and directly killed 3 people from the 12 heavenly stars. One was the commander, another was the powerful Lion Star Gary, and the last one was Ellie, who caused Su Yun to appear in this state. Once Su Yun activated Killing God mode, he couldn't stop at all. Archer Star Kitas, who wanted to go up and take a look at Gary, was also forced back by Su Yun's gaze. Star Pisces Kahua also retreated a few steps, distancing himself from Gary's body to avoid becoming his next target. Seeing that Su Yun had already made up his mind to kill these people, Hua Tang could only disregard everything and go up to stop him. Leader Yen, it's about time. They have already lost their will to fight. If they voluntarily surrender, we can't kill them. Get out of the way. Su Yun spat out these 2 words expressionlessly. Su Yun, who was controlled by his inner demon, no longer had enough reason to control himself. The 12 heavenly stars kidnapped Guagua, killed Wei Yishan, and even wanted to take Matthew away in Huaxia. These were all unforgivable and unforgivable actions. They all had to die. They had to die. Hua Tang heard Su Yun's cold voice and knew that he had lost control. He turned around and gave Han Zhan a look. Han Zhan immediately walked up. Boss, we can't kill them. We still don't have any news of Guagua. Right. Guagua was still in the hands of Blood Yiksha. The sharp pain in Su Yun's head seemed to have temporarily suppressed the control of his inner demon. He angrily glared at the remaining 10 people of the 12 heavenly stars. I'll only ask you one last time. Where did you take Guagua? Tough Star Darrett, who didn't want to continue fighting, gulped. Peter was the one who took care of her. We didn't know anything about it. If you kill Peter, then no one will know where this little girl is. Darrett's mind was rapidly searching for an opportunity to retreat. He had to preserve his remaining combat power. If they fought force with force today, they wouldn't be able to gain any advantage at all. It was very likely that they would all be wiped out. If the mission failed, they could make a comeback. But if everyone died, where would their CIA's face go? No, they definitely couldn't allow this to happen. Then all of you will be buried with her. Su Yun's voice was low and cold. This wasn't a joke, nor was it a threat. It was just a simple statement. Things were already out of control. No one could control Su Yun's actions now. Lin Gu and the others didn't care. If they killed, then they killed. It didn't matter even if they killed a few more Americans. But Hua Tang and Han Zhan still respected the human rights of prisoners of war. If the 12 heavenly stars were captured now, they wouldn't torture and kill those who didn't resist. However, Su Yun was now a key figure that they couldn't control. Chapter 13-15. Boss, it's still useful for us to keep them alive. The existence of these people is still meaningful. If they're all dead and the Americans don't admit to anything, we can't do anything about it, Hanjan said. We need these people to reveal the dirty things they've done. Soo-yun's face was still expressionless. The CIA's people are very tight-lipped. They won't speak carelessly. Once they're dead, everything will be over. What about Guogua? Qianfeng also had some lingering fears. He was really worried that Su-yun would regret his current decision in the future. If something really happened to Guogua, killing these people wouldn't help. They don't know where Guogua is. What's the use of keeping them alive? Su-yun snorted. Those who follow me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. Since you're forcing me to send Guogua to a dead end, then I can only let you all die with her. It wasn't that Su-yun wanted to give up, but Guogua had already fallen into the hands of the blood Yiksha. She was already doomed. Since he couldn't save Guogua, Su-yun was prepared to give Guogua an explanation. The 12 heavenly stars who made things like this had to die. None of them should even think about leaving Shenjiang alive. No matter who it was, they shouldn't even think about stopping him from taking these people's lives. Moreover, the Fan Shuang, couldn't die in vain. Su-yun looked at the Fan Shuang, with trembling eyes. At this time, the members of the special forces who were still angry just now came back to their senses one by one. Yinlong's Fan Shuang, was shot. She needed immediate emergency treatment. Qianfeng was the first to rush over. After all, the Fan Shuang, had cooperated with him many times after entering Dragon's Fury. However, when he rushed in front of the Fan Shuang, he realized that the Fan Shuang was no longer breathing. How could a bullet kill an expert in such a short period of time? Obviously, the bullets were specially constructed. Obviously, this kind of specially constructed bullet would not give the victim any chance of survival. Otherwise, Su-yun would not have undergone such a terrifying change. The death of the Fan Shuang had directly stimulated Su-yun's violent tendencies, and this violent tendencies had directly led to the eruption of Su-yun's inner demons. If no one had sacrificed themselves today, everything would have been fine. Seeing Fan Shuang's corpse, Qianfeng couldn't help but choke with sobs. Even though this female Dragon's Fury member had never contributed much to the military, she had always worked hard. There was no doubt about that. Now that she was willing to sacrifice herself for a righteous cause, she had acted out what a Dragon's Fury should do. However, she was still too young. She still had a long way to go. Tonight, no one should have been sacrificed. No one should have been sacrificed. Su-yun was annoyed. He was annoyed that all of this was because of his negligence and carelessness that had led to Fan Shuang's sacrifice. These people must die. Otherwise, it would be difficult to eliminate the hatred in Su-yun's heart. An unforgivable sin. Go to hell. We will find a way to contact that little girl. Darrett didn't want the 12 heavenly stars to be completely wiped out here. That child was no longer a bargaining chip to exchange for Matthew, but their life-saving talisman. Peter's phone is still here. We will find a way to contact him. Please believe me, we won't let anything happen to that little girl. Don't be impulsive. We can sit down and talk about anything. There's nothing to talk about. Su-yun mercilessly glared at him. Opportunities are not for people like you. This is Huaxia. No matter where my people are, I will find them. You don't have to worry about it. Su-yun certainly thought about the problem with Peter's phone. If Blood Yiksha wanted money, then he could give her more. As long as she let go of the girl, no matter how much money it was, it wouldn't be a problem. Everyone was waiting for Su-yun to give the order. As long as he gave the order, today's matter would be solved even if they had to kill everyone. Su-yun was completely different from before. He didn't give anyone the order to make a move. Suddenly, he rushed towards tenacious star Darrett. His first move was a killer move, aiming straight for the throat. Although Darrett was prepared at all times, the moment Su-yun struck, he used both hands to block, but he still couldn't block this swift and violent fist. The throat was a very fragile part of the human body. Once it was heavily injured, the feeling of the windpipe being torn was unbearable. Darrett couldn't breathe normally at all. That kind of intense pain made him lose the ability to breathe. A short lack of oxygen would slow down a person's reaction and make them unable to keep up with the normal rhythm. Therefore, Darrett couldn't withstand Su-yun's next attack. Eight Extremities' fist's fierce explosion instantly exploded on Darrett's chest. The intense pain in his heart and lungs didn't seem to be as simple as he imagined. However, after that moment of pain, Darrett realized that his brain was no longer under his control. He couldn't control his body, he couldn't control his breathing. He could feel death waving at him. What kind of terrifying power was this? In the past, Darrett always thought that Taurus Green was the most powerful person in the world. Now his worldview was completely shattered. But Darrett didn't have time to think too much. His consciousness started to blur. The moment he fell to the ground, he lost all consciousness. At this time, everyone understood why Su-Yin didn't give the order to make a move. He wanted to kill all the 12 heavenly stars by himself. That wouldn't do, because Su-Yun's evil spirit had already exploded. The more he killed, the harder it was to control his inner demon. If he killed all the 12 heavenly stars, then his evil spirit would completely erode him. By then, it would be even harder to control his inner demon. Brother, you can't do this anymore. Lin Go also realized the seriousness of the situation. Leave the rest to us. You. Don't worry about me. Su-Yin coldly said and pushed Lin Go away. His gaze shot directly at Taurus Green. Green had courage, but he couldn't help but shudder. He couldn't control his body at all. This person's attack was an instant kill. Who could stand it? Who wouldn't be afraid? When Su-Yin made his move, Green immediately made his move. Both of their hands grabbed each other. This was a competition of strength. Green was confident. As long as he could control this person, as long as this person didn't use any clever fighting methods against him, he was confident. In terms of strength, he had never lost before. You're the one who broke both of my people's hands, right? Su-Yin could feel this guy's enormous strength. To be able to break both of Silent's hands, it could only be this person. So what if it's me? Not only did I break his hands, I can also break yours. Green shouted. Both of his arms suddenly exploded with a bang. Even his clothes were torn apart in an instant. His clothes were torn apart. What kind of terrifying strength was needed to do this? Then, Green fiercely flipped his wrist, wanting to break Su-Yun's forearm. But his strength seemed to be sucked into the sea. Facing Su-Yun's hands, it had no effect at all. Just as Green was stunned, Su-Yun suddenly flipped his wrist. Suddenly exerting force, he lifted it up with a crack. Green let out a heart-wrenching scream. Both of his forearms were broken. The broken bones directly pierced through the muscles of his forearms, directly exposing them. The bloody scene was a ghastly sight. What terrifying strength. He wasn't human at all. This was a madman. The remaining people of the 12 heavenly stars even forgot to resist, forget to escape, forget everything. They only knew to stare foolishly, praying in their hearts that they wouldn't be chosen next. Chapter 13-16. Seeing Su-Yin fall into an uncontrollable rage, the people of the Dragon Fury team were helpless. Unless one leader was present, no one could control Su-Yin in this situation. They could only watch him go one step closer to becoming a demon. The demonized Su-Yin would become a completely different person. In the end, he might not even recognize his own people. This was the biggest problem of Su-Yun's inner demon completely erupting. Back then, Su-Yun's strength was far less than today's. He was already out of their control. Now Su-Yin was even more out of their reach. What should they do? Now it was Hua Leitang's turn to have a headache. He had to think of a way to solve the problem. How should they solve it? There was no way to solve this problem. Taurus Green, whose hands had been broken by Su-Yin, had completely lost his ability to fight. Due to the great pain, Green couldn't even dodge. Su-Yun's uppercut hit Green's chin. Green spat out a mouthful of blood in an arc in the air. Green's body also followed the arc and heavily fell to the ground. With a loud bang, the floor trembled. Green's eyes turned white. He also stopped breathing. The 12 heavenly stars of the CIA were all experts with extraordinary strength. But in front of Su-Yin, whose killing intent was getting stronger and stronger, they suddenly became powerless children. Pisces star Kahua saw that the situation was not good. He immediately prepared to slip away. In Huaxia, he had an advantage. After all, he was a Huaxia citizen. As long as he blended into the crowd, it wouldn't be easy to find him. The others were different. They didn't have a chance to run. No matter where they went, they would be betrayed by their yellow hair. So Kahua was the only one with an advantage. He wanted to escape. He had to escape. However, he hadn't even taken a few steps when he crashed into a wall and was sent flying back. Although Han Zhan didn't want Su Yun to kill like this, he would never let any of the 12 heavenly stars escape. These people had committed heinous crimes in Huaxia. They had to bear the responsibility. It was impossible to just walk away. But before Han Zhan could make a move, Su Yun had already caught up with Pisces star Kahua. Kahua opened his eyes wide in horror. He didn't even see Yanlong's horrifying expression. His body was already completely broken at the waist. His waist and abdomen bent 180 degrees. The sound of his spine exploding instantly distorted Kahua's expression. As long as Su Yun made a move, someone would be killed. The remaining 12 heavenly stars people didn't even have the heart to escape. Could it be that no matter what they did, they couldn't escape death? Brother, you really can't make a move anymore. Lin Ge once again stepped forward to stop Su Yun. If this goes on, you'll lose control. Once you lose control, what will the brothers do? Brother, hurry up and wake up. While you can still find yourself, wake up. Don't go on like this. Think about it. Do you think the brothers want to see you like this? Think about it. Do you think Big Sister Frost wants to see you like this? Think about it. Do you think Guoguo wants to see you like this? They don't want to. Although Lin Ji's words pierced the deepest part of Su Yun's heart, it wasn't enough for Su Yun to suppress the demon in his heart. This demon had already gone out of control. Su Yun could feel it, but he couldn't control it. He didn't want to control it. His eyes were only the color of blood. In his heart, he only wanted to avenge Fan Shuang. Boss, if you lose control, Fan Shuang also doesn't want to see it. Qianfeng also rushed forward to stop Su Yun. The reason Su Yun lost control was because of Fan Shuang. But now that she mentioned it, she didn't help Su Yun control the demon in his heart that had already begun to erupt. Instead, she intensified the demon in his heart. All of you get out of my way. Su Yun's still irresistible pressure exploded out. Not only were the 12 heavenly stars completely suppressed, even his own brothers in the Dragon Fury team were somewhat unable to breathe from the pressure of Su Yun's resentment and anger. It's over, it's all over. Hua Leitang really didn't have any other choice. He didn't have the strength to contend against Su Yun in his current state. The strength of this pressure was even more terrifying than Wan leaders. One had to know that Wan Guangxiao was an expert at the 9th level of the Earth Profound Realm. He had already reached the peak of perfection. Right now, Su Yun's pressure had even surpassed his. How did Su Yun achieve this kind of pressure that could only be released by a Sky Profound Realm expert? It was simply inconceivable. Hua Leitang didn't dare to imagine what kind of things the out-of-control Su Yun would do. With their strength, how could they control Su Yun? If he had known this would happen, he would have brought Yu Marin along. Last time, after Yinlong's death, after Su Yun's heart demon went berserk, even though it was controlled by one leader, it was all thanks to Yu Marin that Su Yun was able to calm down. But now that Yu Marin was in Yanjing, even if she immediately flew over, she wouldn't be able to fly over in a short period of time. They couldn't count on Yu Marin at all. Seeing that the Gemini stars had become Su Yun's next target, everyone could only watch with their eyes wide open. There was nothing they could do. They could only let Su Yun do what he wanted to do. Only by completing his final massacre would he be able to satisfy the demon in his heart's desire. Just when everyone was at their wits' end, a figure flashed. No one saw how she came in, and that figure appeared in front of Su Yun. This woman was so exquisite. That kind of unparalleled aura shocked everyone present. Although there was no pressure coming from her body, there was a faint special aura. This kind of aura only gave people a feeling that it could only be seen from afar and could not be blasphemed. Su Yun, it's about time. I thought you were a man like your father, but now it seems that you are still far from it. If it were your father, he would definitely be able to control the demonic nature in his heart. Wan Rant's beautiful voice rang out. I thought you were a man like your father, but now it seems that you are still far from it. Hua. The scene was silent. Finally, Lin Gu opened his trembling lips and said weakly, Empress. The brothers of the Dragon Fury team all widened their eyes. This was the legendary Empress Zuolingyue, the woman who was the leader of the Three Kings, the #1 person in Huaxia's underground world. Why would she appear here? Furthermore, how did she know Su Yun? This scene really made people unable to understand at all. What exactly was the relationship between the two of them? Su Yun also didn't expect Zuolingyue to suddenly appear in front of him. Since the last time they parted, he thought that Zuolingyue had completely disappeared. She didn't care about her daughter, but why did she suddenly appear here to obstruct him? Do you think that you know my father very well? Su Yun, who was almost controlled by his inner demon, was no longer the junior who would call Zuolingyue mom. Then let me tell you, I don't even know what he looks like, so why should I care if he can control himself? What is he? The man who gave me life? Then why did he abandon me to have fun with you? Ha 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 ha, you still have the cheek to talk about him in front of me? Su Yun's words were like a heavy bomb. Who dared to utter a word? No one dared to utter a word. Wasn't this too much information? No one dared to imagine that the relationship between Su Yun and the Empress was like this. At this time, Scorpio Star Bryn again saw the hope of escaping. He quietly took a step back, but it was this step that he believed to be silent that immediately met with Zuolingyue's irresistible gaze. Chapter 13-17. Faced with Zuolingyue's indisputable voice, Scorpio Star Bryn seemed to have been struck by a spell. He couldn't move his feet at all. It was a fear that came from the bottom of his heart. It simply didn't allow him to question or resist Zuolingyue's orders. This was the majesty of an empress, a majesty that couldn't be questioned. Not to mention that the 12 heavenly stars didn't dare to resist. Even the people from Dragon's Fury couldn't help but gulp. They were somewhat flustered. This sense of oppression was too strong. Not to mention normal people. Even abnormal people like them found it hard to bear this kind of silent yet oppressive might. The only person who wasn't affected was Su Yun. Facing the empress who couldn't be disobeyed, Su Yun wasn't at a loss like the others. He still didn't give in by even half a step. I can settle today's matter by myself. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I respect you not because of who you are or what status you have, but because of the relationship between you and that man who didn't raise me. Boss was indeed the boss. Wasn't this a little too domineering? Qian Feng felt cold sweat trickling down his back. If the empress was angered by them, would they really fight? Could they have such strength? Thinking of this, Qian Feng felt goosebumps. The 12 heavenly stars were nothing in front of the empress. One had to know that this woman dared to throw a tantrum in front of their core. Their core couldn't do anything to her. Brother, we are doing this for your own good. Just listen to us. We believe that you can definitely control your inner demons. Lin Gu was undoubtedly quite anxious. He looked at the empress almost pleadingly. Please, you must help my brother. Zuolingyue sneered. Su Yun's words just now made her somewhat angry. She still hoped that Su Yun would sincerely accept her as his stepmother. No one can help him with his own matters. Even a fool could see that Zuolingyue was speaking out of anger. If she wasn't here to help Su Yun, then why would she appear here? This didn't make sense. Since she was here, she wasn't going to let Su Yun fend for himself. If she let Su Yun fend for himself, she wouldn't have appeared. You only know how to vent your anger on these trash hee. Zuolingyue's laughter was full of disdain for Su Yun. But you don't know that you should spend more energy on finding your adopted daughter. Do you know the biggest difference between you and your father? That means he's 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than you. The corner of Su Yun's mouth twitched. If it wasn't for the fact that Zuolingyue was by Xiaoya's mother, the mother of his younger sister, and the woman who was related to his father, he definitely wouldn't be so polite to her just because she was the empress. I know what kind of person my father is. Whether he's good or bad in your eyes, it has nothing to do with me. Su Yun continued. But if you want to compare me, then let me tell you. Since they touched my people, then they have to die. All of them have to die. They have to be buried with Fan Shuang, and Guogua. Zhuo Lingyue didn't expect that Su Yun would be so agitated when she mentioned Guogua. This point was very similar to that dead man. Your daughter isn't dead, so there's no need for them to be buried with her, Zhuo Lingyue said indifferently. Do you know who they handed Guogua to? Blood Yiksha Xiaoqiao. She's a murderous and perverted demoness. They handed Guogua to such a person. What hope do I have? Su Yun was angry. He was angry that Zhuo Lingyue didn't understand him. He was angry that none of them could think about this problem from his perspective. He had promised Ruan Qingshuang that he would always protect her and Guogua. But now what about Guogua? What could he do to protect her? He didn't even know where Guogua was. He didn't even know what Xiao Qiao, who was called Blood Yiksha, looked like. What could he do to protect her? Just when Su Yun was about to explode in anger, a young voice suddenly sounded outside. Daddy, I'm fine. Buzz. Was it an illusion? Su Yun and all the people present quickly looked over, and saw Guogua standing in the dim light, unharmed. She wasn't hurt at all. Just now, Zhuo Lingyue's aura was so strong that it completely covered other people's auras. No one noticed Guogua's appearance. Zhuo Lingyue came with Guogua and Xiao Qiao. At this moment, the beauty standing beside Guogua, who was wearing a tight suit and whose body could make otakus spurt out blood from their noses, was Blood Yiksha Xiao Qiao. She was really as beautiful as her name suggested. If your sister knew that you said that about her bestie, she would definitely fall out with you. Xiao Qiao rolled her eyes at Su Yun. Murderous and perverted demoness. Humph, I didn't expect that I'm such a low-class demoness in the eyes of my bestie's brother. What the hell was going on? Su Yun was really confused. What was even more shocking to everyone present was that because of Guogua's call, the demonic nature on Su Yun's body had suddenly vanished into thin air. Some things were just so miraculous. It happened in an instant. Ever since Zhuo Lingyue knew about Su Yun's situation, she informed the disciple she was most proud of, Xiao Qiao, who had disappeared from the underground world a few years ago. Ever since she left Tianjing, Zhuo Lingyue dismissed everyone. She also wanted to leave the underground world completely. However, because she was worried about Su Yun, she followed Su Yun for a period of time. After knowing that Su Yun encountered this situation, she intervened. This matter was indeed out of Su Yun's control. Thus, Zhuo Lingyue joined in and recruited her most proud disciple. Xiao Qiao, who had left the underground world for many years, also appeared in Shin River City. When Xiao Qiao found out about this, they saw on an underground world website that the 12 heavenly stars were hiring people at a high price. Many people responded to this request, but because they weren't famous enough, they weren't chosen by the 12 heavenly stars. Once the name of Blood Yiksha appeared, the 12 heavenly stars immediately contacted Xiao Qiao. Thus Xiao Qiao secretly protected Guogua in her hands. Originally, they could have told Su Yun about this immediately, but Zhuo Lingyue wanted to see how much tolerance Su Yun had. Thus this show happened. Because they were afraid that Guogua was a child and wouldn't cooperate after knowing the truth, when Su Yun was talking to Guogua, Guogua didn't know that she was safe and really thought that she might be killed. Guogua's words made Xiao Qiao and Zhuo Lingyue's jaws drop. Zhuo Lingyue was really surprised that Su Yun took in such a little demon as his daughter. Wasn't she too similar to their Su family's character? After the signal was cut off by Peter, Xiao Qiao immediately told Guogua the truth. Guogua heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that they were on the same side. She was really scared to death. She really thought that she would never see Su Yun's daddy and Mama Ruan again, let alone sister Cho Yun. At that time, Guogua requested to look for Su Yun. She said that she was worried that Su Yun would be angry because of her. If he couldn't control his anger, then it would be troublesome. Seeing that this child was so sensible, Zhuo Lingyue was really touched. She seemed to recall that when Bai Xiaoye was young, she had never experienced the identity of a mother, and had never given Bai Xiaoye the warmth of a mother. Was she really so incompetent? Zhuo Lingyue touched her chest and felt a slight throbbing pain. Even if Guogua didn't ask, Zhuo Lingyue would immediately take her there. Although she believed in Su Yun, she wasn't sure if Su Yun could control the whole situation. Chapter 13:18. Fortunately, the fact that Guogua was safe allowed Su Yin to return to normal. The reason why things went so smoothly was all thanks to Empress Zhuolingyue, who had been silently helping Su Yin from behind the scenes. Su Yin and the members of Dragon's Fury unconsciously looked at Zhuolingyue. At this moment, they all had the same thought. Since Zhuolingyue was present, did that mean that the Fan Shuang still had a chance to survive? Did Zhuolingyue have the ability to do so? You don't have to look at me. The bullet that shot this girl wasn't an ordinary bullet. No matter what life form was shot by such a bullet, there wouldn't be any survivors. Zhuolingyue said. I'm afraid I can't help you with this matter. Everyone sank into silence. Clearly, Zhuolingyue's words had completely announced the death of the Fan Shuang. There weren't any touching scenes like those in TV dramas, nor were there any goodbyes with snot and tears. As long as one stepped through the door of the mystical dragon brigade, they would know that they could leave this group of brothers and sisters at any time. And this group of brothers and sisters could also leave them at any time. This was the path they had chosen. They wouldn't use tears to express their sorrow. Su Yin was silent for a long time. The heart demon that erupted from the death of the Fan Shuang had caused him to have a lingering fear. He also clearly remembered the rebellious words he had said to Zhuolingyue. Now he only wanted to apologize and thank her. Thank you. I apologize for the words I said just now. I'm sorry. Su Yin, I'm not a benevolent philanthropist. I didn't do this for you. Zhuolingyue said. I just don't want to owe you. I just want to return a favor to you. Thank you for helping me take care of her. The her that Zhuolingyue was referring to was naturally her daughter. If it wasn't for Su Yin, who knew what kind of mental state Bai Xiaoye would be in right now, it was all thanks to him, her half-brother, that Bai Xiaoye was able to escape from the sea of bitterness in her heart. Because of Su Yin, the pain in Zhuolingyue's heart was alleviated as soon as possible. That's what I should do. Su Yin. No matter what, she's still my sister. Although I don't want to acknowledge my unreliable father, I can't deny the existence of this blood relationship. Since Xiaoyi is my sister, everything I do is my responsibility and my duty. If you don't want Xiaoyi to treat you like how I treat my unreliable father, then you should really think about how you're going to face her. After pausing for a moment, Su Yin said slowly, we can't just not interact with each other for the rest of our lives, right? Su Yin had such thoughts about the relationship between him and his father. They really did not interact with each other for the rest of their lives. They would never have the chance to meet again. When he was young, he would fantasize about meeting his father one day. What kind of person would his father be? But now he wouldn't even think about it. To the current Su Yin, this question was really laughable. Extremely laughable. He didn't even know if that person was alive or dead. He had always emphasized to himself that that person was already dead, but now his increasingly strong premonition was telling him that that person wasn't dead. Since that person wasn't dead and wasn't left behind to play chess with the King of Hell, then why did he ignore his own son? He hadn't heard from him for more than 20 years. Even if it was just a little bit of news, Su Yin would still be able to sense his existence. What was the use of a father who didn't even have the slightest sense of existence? It would only make his life more sorrowful. Su Yin took a deep breath and tried his best not to think too much about his father. You still have a chance. At least, you can let Xiaoyi stay by your side from a young age. She's different from me. Hee, it's just that she's a girl, so she's definitely more meticulous than me. Furthermore, things have just happened, so she needs time to accept it. Unlike me, I'm already used to it and have a better ability to accept it. In that case, if your father stands in front of you one day, will you be able to accept him? Zhuolingyue was somewhat surprised. Really? Yes. Su Yin chuckled. However, he knew in his heart that such a day wouldn't come. Since it was impossible, he didn't even need to think about it. There was no need to consider anything at all. Of course, he could answer so casually. Su Yin, in fact, your father isn't what you think he is. Zhuolingyue suddenly became serious. There are some words that I'm not qualified to say. But please believe me, your father is definitely not the kind of irresponsible person you think he is. He's very clear about his responsibilities. He's a very charming man really. Suyun grinned. You said that he's a very charming man. I believe you. If he didn't even have this bit of charm, how could you still speak for him now? Besides, didn't he also abandon you guys? You still think he's irresponsible? Ha ha. There are many things that you only see on the surface. Zwelungyue said. Suyun, you're his son. I believe that you'll understand him in the end. He also believes that you'll definitely understand. Suyun didn't say anything else. He didn't understand what Zwelungyue meant, but he especially wanted to know one thing. Moreover, he felt that Zwelungyue knew about this matter. Where is he, do you know? Zwelungyue completely ignored Suyun's question. She turned to Xiao Qiao and said, Since you're here, then go back with Suyun. Little Yi hasn't seen you for a long time. Maybe you can bring her a bit of good mood. Master, don't worry. I'll definitely do my best to enlighten little Yi. Xiao Qiao said. The two of us grew up together. You've always treated her and me like your own daughter. I believe that she can sense this. I'm not as good of a mother as you say. After Zwelungyue finished speaking, she turned and left. No one stopped her, and no one dared to. The enormous pressure in the hearts of the 12 heavenly stars also gradually dissipated with Zwelungyue's departure. But now they no longer had the chance to resist. A few of their people were instantly killed by Suyun. The rest were simply no match for the other members of the Dragon Fury team. However, they were still from the CIA after all. They still wanted to resist, but that little bit of resistance was completely meaningless. After 10 minutes, all 12 heavenly stars had submitted. These people would be directly escorted back to Beijing by the members of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. This was a matter between countries. Since the CIA had done such a thing, they shouldn't blame Huaxia for enforcing the law of Huaxia on these people who committed crimes in Huaxia. Everything was over. The only regret was Fan Shuang. Her young life had come to an end just like that. Her sacrifice was because she had taken a bullet for Suyun that could not be countered. Fan Shuang, her's body couldn't be transported. They could only bring it back to Yanjing by cremating it in advance. When they returned to the hotel at night, everyone consciously held a farewell ceremony for Fan Shuang, her's body. Facing all this, Suyun didn't know how to express the guilt in his heart. If it wasn't for him being absent-minded at that time, she wouldn't have to sacrifice herself, right? A member of a special forces team was a huge asset to the country. Suyun was vexed. Daddy, Guogua suddenly broke everyone's silence. I also want to go to the place where you grew up. I want to grow up there and be a brave person like Sister Shuang. Chapter 1319. Of course, as Guogua's guardian, Suyun naturally didn't want Guogua to go. Although he knew very well that the Dragon Brigade was a great place, he had endured all those hardships before. And he knew very well how much conviction was needed to persevere through those hardships. Suyun persevered in the Dragon Brigade because he had nowhere else to go. Old Tai Sui had told him that unless he could become a very, very strong man, stronger than anyone else, there was no way he could see his father. It was because of this belief that Suyun endured more intense training every day than anyone else. From a very young age, he had directly undergone adult extreme training, and that was how he became who he was today. The reason his strength had soared so rapidly was not only because of Guogua's existence, but also because he had already stretched his body to its limits in his early years, giving him enough space to absorb power and improve. Different people around Guogua had all received different degrees of improvement due to her unique racial constitution, but the only one who had experienced a qualitative improvement was Suyun. Other than Chou Yun, who had undergone some kind of seal, the other's strength had also increased. That kind of improvement was normal, but Suyun had completely exceeded the normal range. All of this had a lot to do with Suyun's physical limits. Even Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi, who had trained Suyun since he was young, couldn't predict the limits of Suyun's body. No matter when, no matter what kind of extreme training, Suyun would always be able to break through, and he would never fail in advance. The Dragon Brigade's extreme training was extremely perverse. Even in the Dragon Brigade, 99% of the people were unable to complete the training. For example, To continuously do 100,000 push-ups, even for people like them who had inhuman physiques, it would take them nearly 28 hours to do one push-up per second. For 28 hours, without eating or drinking, they had to continuously do push-ups, one after another. This was the Dragon Brigade's extreme training. Including all the people in the Dragon Brigade, there were no more than 10 people who could complete this kind of training. Also, they had to march at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, while carrying 150 kilograms of weight. They had to walk at least 800 kilometers to reach the standard of extreme training. They had to walk for 20 hours. Not to mention the super speed of 40 kilometers per hour, or the terrifying weight of 150 kilograms. A normal person would break their legs even if they walked barehanded for 20 hours. This kind of training that Transcendence couldn't complete, Su Yun was able to persevere, and become the only person to complete it. Every extreme training, Su Yun he would continue to make breakthroughs on his own. He would do 110,000 push-ups, to continuously march with weights for 21 hours. He would make breakthroughs every year. It made those who still couldn't break through the initial extreme training gasp in amazement. It wasn't that those who couldn't break through didn't work hard or persevere. It was just that these extreme training sessions were too difficult to break through. Take Qianfeng for example. After he did more than 60,000 push-ups, he reached his limit. Every subsequent push made him scream himself hoarse. The most he could do was 85,001 push-ups. If he continued, his bones would break, so he was forced to stop the training. After the training ended, his arms swelled for a week before they recovered. For the next month, he couldn't even hold chopsticks. Another example was Hua Xiaolu. Every time he quickly marched with weights, he would fall down and go into shock. In the beginning he could only march for 10 hours, but now he could walk for 15 hours before he fainted because he used up his last drop of energy. This was the meaning of extreme training. It was through these breakthroughs that Su Yun's physique became so special. In Wang Yi's words, these extreme training sessions were never the limit for Su Yun. They were just goals that could be conquered. Even if he had to circle the Earth's equator empty-handed, Su Yun would definitely be able to persevere until the last step before collapsing. The blood in his bones was so stubborn, so stubborn. Sometimes it even made people feel that he was unreasonable. But it was this unreasonable nature that made Su Yun the person he was today. Ever since the first day Su Yun entered the Dragon Brigade, he who was ignorant and sensible, understood that there was always someone better than him. It was simply impossible for him to become the strongest man that old Tai Sui mentioned. But even though Su Yun knew that it was impossible, he still pushed himself to do it because it was his only hope to see his father. It was this tiny flame of hope that made him persevere day after day. This belief was still the same even now. But now he would no longer admit that this belief was the one that made him persevere to this point. That kind of place is not a place where a child should go. Su Yun smiled slightly and rejected Guoguo's request. He didn't dare to meet Guoguo's gaze because he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to reject her. He could feel Guoguo's determination. Guoguo didn't say anything. She still looked at Su Yun with the same gaze as before. She looked at Su Yun without saying a word, waiting for Su Yun to change his answer. Guoguo. Chou Yun didn't expect Guoguo to say this. She suddenly felt a little afraid. If Guoguo really wanted to go, what should she do? Stop her or let nature take its course? For some reason, the child in Chou Yun's eyes suddenly seemed to have grown a lot. Why could she understand the concept of taking responsibility that many adults didn't understand? Su Yun. Ruan Qingshuang cast a pleading look at Su Yun. Her first reaction was, of course, that she couldn't let Guoguo go. She was so young. But when she saw Su Yun, she suddenly seemed to see Su Yun when he was a child. At that time, where did Su Yun go? He was even younger than Guoguo, right? Ruan Qingshuang really couldn't say the words that were stuck in her stomach. She wanted to say that that place was not a place for children, but it was full of contradictions with Su Yun's life experience. She was afraid that it would remind Su Yun of his memories. She was afraid that Su Yun would think too much. I know that you all treat me as a child, and I am indeed a child, Guoguo said, but I don't think that children can't make their own decisions. Auntie Schwanger sacrificed herself because of me. If I can become a person like her in the future, I won't feel guilty for the rest of my life. Moreover, Su-Yun's father can live in a place where he grew up, so why can't I live there? I am very happy to have you all, but I still know that I am an orphan. Guogua, you are not an orphan, and the army is not a shelter for orphans. Su-Yun, I know that you want to take responsibility, but the responsibility is not yours. I don't want you to go, not because I don't want to. It's just that you are different from me when I was a child. You have a choice now, but I didn't have a choice at that time. If I was like you at that time and had a choice, I don't know if I would still have the courage to choose there. Chapter 1320. Boss, no wonder she's your girl, Qianfeng said. However, I still suggest that you let her stay by your side. Like you said, we didn't have a choice at that time. That was the only path. Now she has a choice. She can choose to live like an ordinary person. But I don't want to be an ordinary person. Besides, I'm not an ordinary person, Guogua said. If I can go to that place, it will be helpful to all of you. Su-Yun was suddenly startled. Yes, Guogua's special identity. If she was in the Dragon Brigade, perhaps the entire strength of the whole brigade would rise to another level. Why didn't he think of this? Out of his feelings for the Dragon Brigade and his selfishness for the Dragon Brigade, Su-Yun was really moved. But this was Guogua's life after all. He couldn't just casually make a decision. My life, I make the decision. Guogua suddenly said. Family broken, people dead, wandering, until I met Mama Guogua. These were things that Guogua didn't have a choice. But Guogua is lucky. Today, I have a chance to choose. Please promise me. I'm not fooling around. When I go there, I will definitely not be a naughty child that gives everyone a headache. I will make you all look at me differently. Silence. The whole room was silent. Everyone was waiting for Su-Yun's reply. Only when Su-Yun's final words could Guogua's suggestion be put to an end. Su-Yun thought for a long time. Finally, he said, Guogua, your life, you make the decision. Only in this way will you have no regrets in your life. I don't want you to have any regrets in your life. I also believe that all of us don't want you to have any regrets in your life. Su-Yun wanted to make the decision for Guogua. He knew that Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun wanted to make the decision for Guogua, but it was just as he said. After all, this was Guogua's life. If any of them decided for her, it would no longer be her life. Sometimes, you need to make your own choices in life. Only when you make your own choices can you go on without looking back and regret. Only when you make your own choices can you not regret it because of many disappointments and hesitation. Thank you, Daddy. Guogua said. Thank you for letting me choose. No matter what your choice is, I hope that you can calm down and think about it on your own. Once you've confirmed your answer, tell me, Su-Yun said. You know the choice that we want you to make. I hope it won't affect you. And I know what you want to choose. I don't think that your choice is wrong, but I don't know if it's wise or not. Guogua, think about it carefully before you make a decision. Don't be anxious. Guogua nodded. I don't want you to make me regret letting you make the decision today. Su-Yun said in the end. Guogua said with certainty, I won't. No matter what my choice is, I will follow my own heart and stick to my choice until the end. Su-Yun smiled. He felt much better. As long as you can stick to it and don't regret your choice, I won't regret the decision I made today. Guogua, I believe in you. Guogua, I believe in you too. Although Ruan Qingshuang was very reluctant for Guogua to choose to go to the army, she still gritted her teeth and supported Su-Yun's decision. She knew that Su-Yun's decision was right, and she had no right to make the decision for Guogua. Chou Yun was silent for a moment before speaking up softly. No matter what, Big Sister will support your decision. Go make your choice according to your heart. Your future belongs to you. Even if you choose to go to that place, you don't have to live for the sake of anyone else. You have to live for your own future. Big Sister Chou Yun, I also want to leave you as soon as possible. Guogua stuck out her tongue and said something that made people confused. People who knew about the relationship between Chou Yun and Guogua were very clear. Although it was said that Cho Yun had always protected Guogua because Feng Qiansui had helped Guogua before, Cho Yun and Feng Qiansui had a master-servant relationship. However, everyone could see clearly that Guogua had never treated Cho Yun as a servant, and Cho Yun had always treated Guogua as her own sister. Logically speaking, the person that Guogua couldn't leave the most should be Cho Yun, the big sister who watched her grow up. However, Guogua said such a sentence. Even if it was a joke, would it hurt Cho Yun's heart too much? Cho Yun looked at Guogua in surprise. She knew that Guogua wouldn't hurt her. Could it be that Guogua was thinking about her? If I am always by your side, you will never be able to have your own life. Guogua continued. I know Grandpa's last words for you. I know that you have always regarded me as the center of your future life. Everything you do is only for me. But from now on, I want you to stop living for me. You have your own life, and your life has its own meaning. Everyone should be fair, right? Cho Yun's eyes suddenly burst into tears. She pulled Guogua into her arms and choked with sobs. Guogua, you have really grown up. The more hardships a child encountered in childhood, the greater the hardships, the faster they would grow up compared to ordinary children. Although Guogua was a naughty child, that was only on the surface. In fact, she was very sensible. In many things, her actions weren't just for show, but for herself. Most of the time, the things she considered were even better than the adults. There were many people who couldn't see this. This could only mean that these people's thoughts weren't as mature as Guogua's. Guogua's maturity far exceeded that of children her age. This was because the things she suffered were more painful than her peers. The pain was hundreds or thousands of times more painful. At this moment, Suyin seemed to see the shadow of his childhood in Guogua. His persistence back then was the same as Guogua's. Boss, if there's anything you need us to pass on, we will go back and tell the brigade commander. Hanjan said. Every year, the Dragon Brigade would accept children of all kinds of backgrounds. These children included the children of old friends and orphans of soldiers. Hanjan and the others who grew up with Su Yun were all such children. Guogua was Su Yun's daughter. If she wanted to join the Dragon Brigade, the organization naturally wouldn't reject her. However, this also needed to go through the procedures. If it was already decided, Hanjan would go back and inform Wang Yi in advance. Su Yun shook his head. Let's wait for her to think it through and make the final decision. I will personally tell the organization. Hanjan nodded and didn't say anything else. Shuang, Er's ashes will be dealt with according to our martyrs' customs. Hualetang said. We will also hand over the people of the 12 heavenly stars to the organization to deal with. Matthew will also be sent back safely. Don't worry. With you leading the team, I can rest assured. Su Yun patted Hualetang's shoulder. According to the Dragon Brigade's customs, the ashes of Fan Shuang, who also didn't have a family, would be scattered on the east coast of Huaxia. If one day Su Yun died because of a mission, he would also request for the same. They were the dragon souls of Huaxia. Even if they were turned into ashes, every speck of dust would guard the coastline of Huaxia and not allow any enemy to invade. If an enemy wanted to cross into Huaxia, the first obstacle would be them. Chapter 1321. The brothers of the Dragon Fury team left with the 12 heavenly stars. Zuolengyue, who had helped them behind the scenes, was nowhere to be found. Although Su Yun wanted Guogua to consider for 3 days before making a decision, everyone knew that Guogua had already made up her mind. Su Yun gave her 3 days to stay with everyone so that Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun could better accept this reality. Otherwise, if Guogua left with the Dragon Fury team today, Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun might not be able to accept this reality. They needed time to accept Guogua's departure. Although these 3 days were short and cruel, it was still precious time. The rest of the day made everyone feel especially relaxed. Su Yun slept for the entire morning. In the afternoon he went to the police station with Qin Wan, to cooperate with some work. After all, the 12 heavenly stars were the murderers of Wei Yishan, and were taken away by the military. They needed Su Yun to give a statement. They also needed Su Yun to communicate with the higher-ups of the organization, and send a certificate with a large steel seal to the police. If it was in the past, Su Yin definitely wouldn't have cooperated with them. However, now that Su Yin had recovered his identity as a member of the Dragon Brigade, he couldn't refuse to cooperate with the police even if he didn't want to. This was also his responsibility. Zhuo Meiyan also left with Zhuo Yeming and Wang Zhe. She didn't want to stay in the same city as Su Yin when there were so many people around. She didn't have time to be alone with him. When there were so many people around, she would feel uncomfortable. Ruan Qingxuang and Chou Yun took Guogua to shop for the whole day. No matter what Guogua liked, Ruan Qingxuang would buy it for her without hesitation, because she knew in her heart that she wouldn't have such an opportunity in the future. Later, the three of them watched a movie and spent the whole day together. Chou Yun still felt a little sad because of the time that was disappearing every minute and second. Fortunately, Guogua was able to adjust the atmosphere in time, so that Chou Yun was not so sad. Although Zhuo Lingyue had left, Xiaoqiao didn't. This terrifying character called Blood Yiksha didn't let Su Yin feel her baleful aura and chilling killing intent. On the contrary, she gave people a sense of warmth. After all, Xiaoqiao had helped Su Yin a lot with Guogua's matter. Moreover, she was Bai Xiaoye's best friend who grew up with her. So, after Su Yin finished his business in the police station, he had dinner with Qin Wan-er and several city leaders. Thus, he invited Xiaoqiao to the bar on the top floor of Xingkai Hotel for a few drinks. Xiaoqiao wasn't good at socializing. Today, everyone was so busy that she wanted to relax. She couldn't join in the conversation, so she spent her time watching TV in the hotel room. At noon, she went out to eat some fast food. At night, she was too lazy to go out, so she directly ordered an urgent delivery to the hotel. When Su Yin invited her, she was eating fried chicken wings and drinking Coke. She was the kind of person who wouldn't get fat no matter how much she ate, so she didn't worry about how high the calories of these foods were. Hearing that Su Yin invited her to the bar on the top floor of the hotel for a drink, Xiaoqiao immediately agreed. I've heard that this is the best bar in Shenzhen City, but I haven't had a chance to come here. I'm worried that I can't afford it. Is the alcohol on the top floor very expensive? Are there customers? Hee, the bar doesn't only sell alcohol. It's a place where you can feel the entire Shenzhen city. You'll know when you go up. Su Yin. As for customers, although there aren't many, there's never a lack of them. There are more and more rich people now, Xiaoqiao said. I heard that those who spend hundreds of thousands to open a bottle of red wine can only be considered middle class. Yes, because there are more and more people who want to experience the feeling of owning the entire Xinjiang city. Su Yun. They don't come here to drink but to experience this feeling. The alcohol may not be worth the price, but the feeling is definitely worth it. Because only that kind of feeling can stimulate their ambition and give them more motivation on the road ahead. Xiaoqiao smiled slightly. I don't understand the feeling you're talking about. I'm not rich, nor am I a businessman. I don't have any ambition. As the two chatted and laughed, they had already reached the bar on the top floor. Su Yin had already asked Chang to greet the manager on duty. They directly went up to the upper floor of the bar. When Xiaoqiao looked down at the entire Xinjiang city, her face was filled with surprise. Very quickly, that surprise turned into a smile. I think I understand the feeling you're talking about now. No wonder. Don't talk about rich people. Even I feel that hundreds of thousands to open a bottle of wine here isn't expensive. What do you want to drink? Su Yin. There are some precious red wines here. No, I don't want it. I don't know about red wine. I don't know how to appreciate it. Don't waste it recklessly. Xiaoqiao said. I just like the spiciness of Huaxia's white wine. Do you think they don't have it here? Su Yin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He suddenly felt that he would definitely like to make friends with people like Xiaoqiao. She wasn't pretentious or hypocritical at all. She completely showed her true side. Indeed, there are very few customers who drink white wine here. Even if those customers also like to drink white wine, when they come here, they will still order red wine that has no alcohol content to them or foreign wine that they're not used to drinking. It's all for the sake of taste. Xiaoqiao shrugged. So things like taste can also be faked. I really didn't expect that. It seems like you really don't have the wine I want to drink here. But the world is so big. There are all kinds of people. There are also bosses who like to drink white wine. Suyin. Ian jia with ziyi. Ian drinking wine with ziyi. Qin and Sei are in control. All are peaceful. 3,000 years ago, when the word wine was written in large amounts in the Book of Songs, white wine and Huaxia's culture formed an indissoluble bond. Then for such a cultured wine bar, there must be white wine. Xiao Qiao revealed a smile. Of course, Mao Tai Wulianghua, Li Du. You can have anything you want. Su Yin. Don't forget this isn't a simple bar, it's a hotel. Xiao Qiao gave a laugh. Su Yin was right, this was a hotel. Even if the wine bar didn't have it, the food and beverage section below would have it. But one thing was certain, there was no lack of wine here. If you want Mao Tai 50 years old, there would definitely be it. If you want Duke Windsor from the wine cellar 1573, there would definitely be it. As long as there were thousands of bottles of wine, there would be no lack here. But there definitely wouldn't be any small grenades that cost $2.50 or Old Village Chief that cost $8 a bottle. This place definitely wouldn't have it. This is your place, you can arrange it. Xiao Qiao said. Even if you treat me to the cheapest Red Star Erguo, I will definitely drink it first. Su Yin revealed a faint smile. Unhumph, that's easy. I can tell with a single glance that your alcohol tolerance isn't normal. Then let's have some of the Confucius family's wine. 1 cup will whet your appetite, 2 cups won't hurt your kidneys, and after 3 to 5 cups, I guarantee that your little face will be white with a bit of red. Chapter 1322. Xiao Qiao drank as if she was tasting a cup of bitter coffee. Every time she picked up the wine glass, she would unconsciously frown and take a sip. Only after the spiciness of the alcohol spread to every corner of her mouth, she would feel satisfied. The two of them seemed to have suddenly become professional wine tasters. They just drank mouthful after mouthful of wine, and looked down at the night view of Xinjiang. Soon, almost 2/3 of the bottle of white wine was drunk, but the two of them acted as if nothing had happened. I have long heard that the people in the special forces have alcohol resistance training. Judging from your appearance, that training must be very effective. Xiao Qiao smiled slightly. If one of us has to drink until the other is drunk, can we end it tonight? Su Yin also laughed. This is called drinking with a bosom friend. 1,000 cups are not enough. Since you said so, your alcohol tolerance must be bottomless. Could it be that you have also received alcohol resistance training? Or are you born with an antibody to alcohol? I have heard of people who are born with an antibody to alcohol. They can't even drink 3 to 5 caddies of alcohol. Xiao Qiao said. I don't have that innate ability. My alcohol tolerance is probably trained by stealing my master's wine since I was young. Su Yin was stunned. Wasn't Xiao Qiao's master Zhuo Lingyue? Zhuo Lingyue was also an alcoholic? During the few years when my master took me in, she couldn't leave wine every day, Xiao Qiao said. Every time we saw my master drinking, Xiao Yi and I would be very worried, because every time she got drunk, she would say something that made no sense to us. But now, after knowing that Xiao Yi is my master's daughter, I suddenly understood everything. Did she drink a lot of wine every day at that time? Su Yin was a little surprised. Zhuo Lingyue was such a well-maintained woman. How could she be the kind of alcoholic? Didn't alcoholic women age very quickly? Why didn't she look old at all? Furthermore, from Xiao Qiao's words, she was also someone who had been addicted to alcohol since she was young. Even though she had been drinking at such a young age, she had also grown into a graceful and elegant woman. The difference between people's physiques was really too big. Could it be that Zhuo Lingyue had some kind of elixir that could make them look like they were taken by a beauty camera after eating it? What a joke. Su Yin really didn't believe that she was a girl who was addicted to alcohol since childhood. You drank with your master since you were young? White wine. Yes. That's why I only like white wine now. Xiao Qiao said. Otherwise, why don't I drink some of your precious red wine? It's because I've been spoiled by my master's white wine since I was young. So now those wines with low alcohol content are like drinking water to me. I don't want you to think that I'm wasting your precious red wine. You were probably taken in by your master when you were in your teens. Why did you think of drinking at that time? Suyin said. If your master drank to drown his sorrows, then you, Xiao Qiao smiled faintly, took another sip of wine, and said indifferently, why do you think I'm a perverted murderous demoness? Is it because those 23 people were wiped out in a single night many years ago? Su Yun froze awkwardly, but in the end he still nodded, admitting Xiao Qiao's words. Indeed, I've heard of Blood Yiksha's name when I was 13. A girl the same age as me was able to crazily kill 23 people in one night, all of them decapitated. I admit that this matter has long since set a certain image of you in my heart, but I never thought that you would be different from what I imagined. What kind of person do you think I should be? Like Mei Chaofeng? Xiao Qiao looked relaxed, but only she knew the heaviness in her heart. I admit that those 23 people were killed by me. Su Yun was silent for a while, but he didn't know what to say in the end. He could only raise his glass, signaling Xiao Qiao to drink with him. The two glasses clinked. Su Yun raised his glass and drank it in one gulp. Xiao Qiao didn't hesitate either. She drank it in one gulp. After the two of them filled their glasses again, the whole bottle of Kung Fu family's liquor was gone. Su Yun snapped his fingers, and someone immediately brought it up. The manager on duty saw that Chairman Su and Xiao Qiao were drinking the liquor, and he really wanted to ask them if they needed to make some side dishes. After all, the lounge didn't have much alcohol, so the manager on duty held back, put down the liquor and left. After he left, he immediately ordered people to go downstairs to find some drunkard's peanuts, pickled pepper chicken feet, spicy duck wings, and other side dishes to go with the liquor. If Chairman Su needed it, he could directly send it up. If Chairman Su didn't need it, he wasn't afraid of wasting it. He could just eat it as supper at night. After all, the customers in the lounge left all kinds of alcohol every day, so he wasn't afraid of not having enough to drink. I've heard about you. If it were me, I would probably take revenge on those 23 people, but... Su Yun suddenly stopped. He didn't know how to continue. It's just that you won't cut off their heads in such a cruel way like I did, right? Xiao Qiao smiled faintly, and continued to drink the liquor in her glass. Although I killed them, I didn't cut off their heads. Su Yun was stunned. Was it someone else? Was it Zwilling Yue's doing? Don't think too much. I didn't tell my master that I wanted to take revenge, so it couldn't be my master's doing. Xiao Qiao said, people like them have done too many evil things. Even if they ended up like this, they deserved it. It's just that I got the name Blood Yiksha for no reason. But I do like this name. It suits me. Those people who died later, were they all friends of those 23 people? Su Yun asked again. Yes. Xiao Qiao nodded. Those people deserved to die. They were all related to those 23 people. Most of them committed evil deeds and ran to other provinces. Over time, they stayed there. Every one of them had a crime that could only be washed away with death. Su Yun took a sip of the liquor. He could feel Xiao Qiao's killing intent when she mentioned this matter. That kind of childhood experience was indeed unacceptable. He could understand. If it were him, he might have done the same thing as Xiao Qiao. When a person was forced to a certain point, that kind of killing intent would naturally turn him into another person. If you could choose again, would you still kill those people? Su Yun suddenly asked out of the blue. In fact, he was also trying to find an answer to this question for himself. Xiao Qiao thought for a while, and then nodded very firmly. I would still do it, because those people deserve to die. If I didn't kill them, I don't know how many people they would have harmed. These people deserve to die. Even if my hands were stained with blood, I definitely wouldn't let them get away with it. Su Yun deeply felt the same. If he could choose again, would he still kill that scum in a fit of rage? He would still choose to kill without hesitation. Because Su Yun also knew that if he didn't kill those people, they would definitely do even more evil deeds in the future. Only by completely eradicating those people from this world would everything be clean. Only then would there be no more betrayals and no more conspiracies. Su Yun also never thought that his actions were wrong. Even if he killed them 1,000 times, 10,000 times, even if he was completely removed from the Dragon Brigade, he wouldn't regret it. Only by completely eradicating those scum could his brothers in the Dragon Brigade not be harmed by those who betrayed them. This kind of thing had to be done by oneself. Others would never be able to stand in one's shoes and look at this kind of problem. You're tuning into the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.